When an American flips through modern reality TV offerings, lip curled in disgust or interest, what type of imagery are they seeing at the speed of a button smash? What about the people who watch reality TV from a sheltered, rural, ignorant, or homogenous region of the country? When a child or teenager watches reality TV, what are they learning? When someone overseas watches American reality TV, what information will they retain or assume to be the unshakable truth when they visit or even move here? It shouldn't matter, of course. All viewers should be able to see that reality TV is an entertaining clown show, featuring the best and worst America has to offer, exploited by a team of producers. But in truth, media literacy is elusive on a wide scale, and this makes reality TV an important method of transmitting ideas and information. In too many circumstances, unscripted programming is not just entertainment, but education. The rise of the reality star in politics shows us that unscripted programming is a powerful medium. Though the number of reality TV shows in America peaked at 550 in 2013, since 2022, approximately 35% of US primetime programming at any given time is unscripted. Dating shows, slice of life content, embarrassment core, competitions, there's endless choice. 58% of reality TV viewers are women, and 18 to 34-year-olds watch 40% more reality TV than everyone else. Where have Black women fit into this medium, and why does it matter? In this video, by talking about the history of Black women in reality TV, we're also going to address how reality TV set the tone for non-stop content creation, our political elections, the internet culture wars, poor interpersonal relationships, and more. Even if you don't watch reality TV, you're gonna learn something new. Secure your wig and grab a snack. It's about to get a little messy. This video is sponsored by intellectualmedia.com, a free platform offering history guides, essays, quizzes, playlists, syllabi, and videos deemed too hot for YouTube. Let's bring blogging back. So do me a favor, go to the link in my description box below and check out intellectualmedia.com. TV's earliest roots were in the audience participation-fueled talk radio shows of the 1930s, when people called in with extremely private information about their lives and families. In 1945, the Queen for a Day radio program premiered, in which female contestants told the host and audience about their tragic or embarrassing circumstances in exchange for a prize, while the audience members voted for the most stirring, read, pathetic, or sad story. The popular show made the jump to television in 1956, where privacy was stripped away by a public appearance. Wrote the Tampa Tribune, "Once the decision has been made, the Queen is glamorized by hairdressers, fashion consultants, and beauty experts, and finally is granted her wish." While decades later, the women of modern reality TV would cry over unemployed, cheating, criminal, and/or abusive husbands to a gleeful and invested audience, the women who hoped for a new oven or car or $100 check on Queen for a Day did it first.
And you got shattered nerves. You're wrinkling your nice little handkerchief here. Did you tap that yourself?
No.
Yeah, no, or something.
I lost my husband in November
Oh my
to a
God.
hunting accident. He was out hunting and his buddy accidentally shot him. And
Leaving you with the two kids.
As Emily Nussbaum discussed in Cue the Sun, the invention of reality TV, the show served as both emotional catharsis and a bleak reminder that the nuclear family didn't guarantee your safety. Host Jack Bailey would listen to women tick off the name of dead relatives and say something along the lines of, "There is nobody who has had more bad luck than you have. You must have a wonderful, wonderful spirit." Hardship is a strain of reality TV that would thrive, but Queen for a Day's true purpose was summed up by producer Howard Blake. A candidate had to want something we could plug: a stove, a carpet, a plane trip, an artificial leg, a detective agency, a year's supply of baby food. One April 1957 edition of the show saw Miss Dolly Monks of Montclair, California, win not just her desire of new car tires, but her own candy store, sponsored by Haas Distributing Company. The audience had been won over because Dolly's husband died of cancer, leaving her with 3 children. Over 500 people attended the opening of Heavenly Candies. Dolly was possibly the first minor reality star, receiving 15 minutes of fame, as she and the candy store were regularly featured in the local news until she got married and sold the shop. In In the first major reality program, consumerism and tragedy were not just ratings gold and attractive for advertisers, but it was instructional as well. First, a man, Jack Bailey, was presented as a savior for these beleaguered women. But additionally, what they really wanted to do was teach women to be good post-war consumers, said media studies assistant professor Josh Shepard. The 1948 prank show Candid Camera had started as a radio show named Candid Microphone in 1947. The next evolution of reality TV came with PBS's An American Family in 1973. It starred the Loud family of Santa Barbara, California. Though originally referred to as a documentary, it's now viewed as a foundational block of the unscripted and reality TV genre. Over 10 million viewers over 12 weeks watched the Loud family navigate oldest son Lance coming out, the divorce of parents Bill and Pat, and Bill's infidelity. Described William Yardley. Viewers saw Mrs. Loud drinking glasses of wine and complaining about what she described as her husband's flagrant infidelity, the absence of sex in their marriage, and what she viewed as his general detachment. Gone, as he often was, on business trips.
Sounds like a real housewife to me.
When Pat visited Lance in the Chelsea neighborhood of New York to see what her son was up to, cameras followed, and the episode's advertisement was splashy. A 13th episode was called An Interview with the Louds, digging into what it was like to participate. Delilah Loud later recounted to Messy Nessie, "We didn't have a script. We were just going along with what our lives were. We didn't think it was going to be as big as it got to be. There was a lot of naivety. They said they'd film us for a few weeks, and then those weeks turned into 7 months." The show was fascinating and groundbreaking, and people wondered why anybody would air their dirty laundry for producer Craig Gilbert. Reported the New York Times, "Why did the Loud family agree to participate? The answers range from a chance for celebrity as TV stars to a vague feeling that the cameras might fill in the spaces of communication within the family. No single answer is completely convincing." Mr. Gilbert, though, notes that dozens of families were interviewed before the Louds and that the great majority were willing to volunteer for the series. Tons of people were willing to go on TV. The Loud family were guests on everything from The Dating Game to The Dick Cavett Show. The unscripted genre came to encompass more formats in a range of competition and dating shows, but in the 90s, MTV's The Real World was the next important evolution. And the reality TV genre began to encapsulate what Tia Tyree defined as any show purported to be unscripted that captures non-actors as they encounter actual events or staged situations. Real World was created by John Murray, who had long been inspired by An American Family, and Mary Ellis Bonham, a soap opera producer. In the show's proof of concept, a Club MTV dancer named Janelle Scarborough was cast as the one black roommate, but MTV's slow move to greenlight the series led to a new cast. Among the chosen 7 was Jersey City native Heather B. Gardner. She said, "I had no expectations, except that when the camera gets on me, I could talk about what it's like being a female rapper." She and her fellow cast were paid $2,600 to be filmed from February 16th to May 18th, 1992, and the show premiered 3 days later on May 21st. Heather B. was highlighted as a member of Boogie Down Productions, who was recording her first album. She performed The System Sucks, a creed against date rape, in front of her castmates in a studio. The first season of The Real World, which averaged 3 million viewers an episode, largely centered around the innocent Alabama transplant Julie. Heather B. became close with her, fulfilling a role in the house as the opinionated and cool black friend who didn't tolerate disrespect. Heather was even briefly arrested during the season when she got into a fight at a party.
You see my mouth? She felt she was assaulted when she tried to take a cup. Why did you try to take a cup? All you had to do was ask for one, period. I don't even have to talk to her. You want to speak to me?
Where they going with her? Where they going?
We exchanged. I gave all my information. I told her, I was a rapper, and she asked me how I started rapping, and I told her about the group, and she finally exchanged, the name and the number of the other women, and I never pressed charges because I found out that she didn't press charges against me, but she just wanted me to apologize to her and pay for any damages that was done to her. Of course, I just told her to break out and get out my face because I wasn't trying to hear her.
Heather also got to meet her celeb crush, basketball star Larry Johnson. MTV's official bio described Heather, writing, "She makes friends quickly and always speaks her mind, regardless of the consequences. Heather B may be as real as it gets." As writers and viewers have noted, being real was usually the designated role of black women on Real World. Heather released the album Take in Mine in 1996, which featured the song All Glocks Down, which still sounds good in 2026 and that 2 Chainz mentioned in the song Feds Watchin'. She later became co-host of Sway in the Morning. While Heather saw the experience on the Real World as a launchpad for her career, she later expressed her distaste at the way that the show was edited to make her a one-dimensional sidelined character. For instance, scenes with her father never aired until she demanded they be shown at the Real World Homecoming special in 2021. Reported Alessa Dominguez, "You keep hearing the same story over and over again," Heather said of the kinds of mainstream narratives available for black people at the time. "So you believe that is the story for every black person, that you grew up in a single-parent home." Her own background seemed to slip by producers. "I went to private school. I had my own room. I had my own telephone number. I had my brothers. We went on family vacations together. I was raised Catholic. Why not show that?" The Real World's formula thrived off of having a diverse cast with ideological and background differences. So as the show progressed, there was usually a black woman or two who fit a certain mold, wisecracking, real, funny, and or willing to cuss out fellow cast members, causing critics to complain that they were fulfilling the stereotype of the angry sapphire. In season 2 in Los Angeles, when viewership had doubled, Tami Akbar, a Howard-educated singer and HIV care worker who was raised Muslim, said what was on her mind. She also made a splash when she got an abortion during the season. Notably, when male castmate David Edwards removed Tami's blanket when she was partially nude, the roommates voted to kick him out of the house. Tami's edit in season 2 revealed way more about her personal life than Heather B. These were the earliest examples of black women on reality TV, but they weren't the most iconic. The medium was really about to bloom in the next decade. Reality shows were cheap to produce and increasingly became a big network staple in the 2000s. One subgenre of reality that did particularly well were court shows, which took real people and actors and blurred the line of reality. Judge Judy had premiered in 1996 and was massively popular, leading to other similar programs like 1999's Divorce Court with Judge Maybelline Ephraim, a former correctional officer and LA prosecutor. Divorce Court had been running at various times since 1957, but Judge Maybelline's version was the first to feature real couples rather than reenactments of divorce proceedings.
Before the testimony is heard.
There's another issue.
What's the other?
His mother.
What about his mother?
Before the arguments are made.
What did you say?
Before a verdict is reached. She takes care of business.
He doesn't trust you. You don't trust him. You've got to take control of your life.
One case at a time.
I have the Murphy file for you. Thank you.
Her gavel, her court.
Let's go.
Judge Maybelline rules on an all-new season
of Divorce Court.
There was also Judge Hatchett in 2000, starring Atlanta attorney, public relations specialist, and judge Glenda Hatchett. In 2006, the Harvard-educated Republican lawyer and judge Lynn Toller began hosting Divorce Court, a position that she held until 2020. On these shows, educated black women served as admirable and knowledgeable hosts in direct contrast to the litany of messy plaintiffs and defendants of all races who appeared. They were tough, but generally fair, in a medium where being tough was expected. Black women were also appearing in more reality competition shows, which had taken America by storm thanks to the popularity of 2000's Survivor and The Bachelor. In 2002, office manager Vesepia Towery won the 4th season of Survivor. She was known for being socially adept with her castmates, sly, calm, and unthreatening, and keeping a journal with notes on them.
Had about enough of these people, you know? Love them, but I had enough of them. One of the goals that I had while I was here was to develop a relationship with everyone and know as much as I can about them.
By leading with niceness, she disarmed her castmates because they underestimated her as too nice and not calculating enough.
General, what was your first impression of V?
First impression was a very nice lady. We didn't really talk much, but just seemed very nice, quiet, easygoing.
How would you describe V today?
Player. Definitely a player. Stronger than I thought. Definitely deceptive.
She connected with her fellow castmate Sean over blackness as well.
Oh, my brother.
Thank you so much. I know how much this means to be away from home and away from our family, and on this day, I just want to tell you happy birthday, sister. I love you, okay?
You go, girl! I used to watch a lot of reality competition shows in elementary and middle school, mainly Survivor, American Idol, and Fear Factor, and I intentionally rooted for everybody black.
Her win and favorable edit was a rarity. In 49 seasons, Vecepia was one of just 2 black women and 5 black people to win. However, she's been left out of recent Survivor productions. As she wrote on Facebook in 2020, "Hello, Survivor fans. Just a few more hours before 20 of the very best winners will be competing for $2 million in Survivor Winners at War. Yes, 20 of the best, but I am not included. As the first and only African-American female to win Survivor and the first to win a reality show, at least we think, here in the US, I was not invited." Both Vecepia's win in 2004, along with Fantasia Barrino's win over on American Idol, were anomalies.
Fantasia Barrino.
Wrote Teresa Wiltz, "If you've ever seen a reality TV show, chances are you've seen her. A perpetually perturbed, tooth-sucking, eye-rolling, finger-wagging harpy, creating confrontations in her wake and perceiving racial slights from the flimsiest of provocations. At the very sight of her, her castmates tremble in fear. And no wonder, she's the sister with an attitude."
I am not getting emotionally attached.
You can get as emotionally attached as you want. Because the only reason why we said it is because we care about your feelings as you're part of this tribe. But don't jump all over me, sweetheart.
Don't wave your finger in my face.
I will always wave my finger
under your breath.
You want me to say it in your face?
Yes.
Yes, I will be happy to. I'm saying it to your face right now. I'm tired of you and f***ing chickens.
What have I said about the chickens, though? Nothing. That's the problem.
You and your little...
The biggest sister with an attitude was undoubtedly Omarosa Manigault on The Apprentice, the show that debuted the same year and buttressed future presidential maniac Donald Trump's image as a well-oiled businessman. Omarosa was the lone black woman that season, introducing herself by saying, "I grew up in the projects, but I am now a PhD candidate and work as a political consultant. 4 years ago, I worked at the White House for the President of the United States." As noted by Paget and Allison in a critical analysis of black womanhood in NBC's The Apprentice, Omarosa, who was the first of only 9 black women who ever competed on The Civilian Apprentice, was called a bitch 7 times in 10 episodes and was accused of being lazy.
When I was 10 years old, I knew who she was specifically because she was publicized as the devil incarnate.
You know what? Life's too short to be a bitch. Do you think that you're going to be successful in the business world if you make enemies with everybody that comes in front of you?
Guess what? I went from the projects to the White House. How successful was that?
Even with Omarosa's flaws, it's funny how she generally stayed calm in the face of aggressive white women.
Okay, Omarosa, and you know what? I'm gonna be successful.
You are successful.
No.
You are.
And you know what? Omarosa, Omarosa, shut up.
I'm gonna be successful. Don't talk to me like that. That's where this conversation ends. I'm done. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Ever since the Amos and Andy radio show, the Sapphire character, an angry black woman with an aggressive and emasculating constitution, was a common stereotype of black women in sitcoms and movies. The Sapphire obviously made her way to reality TV, with Vanessa E. Jones writing, "You see elements of her in Alicia Calloway of Survivor All-Stars, who indulged in a temperamental bout of finger-wagging during an argument in 2001 Survivor, the Australian Outback. Coral Smith, who rules with an iron tongue on MTV's Real World Road Rules Challenge, the Inferno. Browbeat one female castmate so badly a week ago that she challenged Smith to a fight.
Fight like this, you know what? I want to fight like a man. Right now, I want to fight like a man on the lawn. Wrestle.
Then there's Omarosa Manigault Stallworth of The Apprentice, who rode the angry black woman stereotype to the covers of People and TV Guide magazines, even as she made fellow African-American businesswomen wince.
Very intimidated by black women, right? I don't think that they've ever been around a strong African-American woman, to be quite frank. I'm going to fight back.
In many ways, you are the stereotypical angry black woman that...
I'm not angry. I ain't pissed off about nothing. I'm young, I'm educated, I'm successful, and I represent my community.
That's what you said on the BET red carpet.
And I represent my community well. I give back more to my community than anybody that I know. So if that's being ABW, you're reinforcing stereotypes, and that's important for you not to do.
No, I said
because you don't know me.
That's how.
You really don't.
Omarosa was the breakout star that audiences love to hate, and she claimed that she was edited to appear to be the villain because it made for juicy television. The typical hallmarks of a good white businessman that Omarosa embodied, cool detachment, confidence, delegation, greed, etc., made her the show villain. Whenever she defended herself or spoke with incensed castmates, she was regarded as the angry one. But as Dr. David Pilgrim wrote about the Sapphire stereotype, Newt Gingrich and the Republican Party rode the anger of white men into political dominance in 1994. What were they angry about? Affirmative action, multiculturalism, liberalism? Few people, especially members of the dominant group, questioned whether white men had the right to be angry. This reality of the double standard was missing from contemporary coverage of early black reality stars like Omarosa, who were tasked with making producers happy. What makes producers happy? Narrative, conflict, and villains. Even if Omarosa did enjoy leaning into being the villain, Jeanette Dates explained that when contestants do not conform to the roles producers desire, they are either not selected at all or they are eventually cut from the program. Though Omarosa accused the Apprentice showrunners of giving her a poor edit, and it's no secret that reality show producers manufacture drama and lean into archetypes, Omarosa's choices in politics and her personal life signaled that she was actually willing to be a villain. Omarosa appeared on an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show in the midst of her rising fame, and she accused castmate Erica Vetrini of calling her the N-word. Both Vetrini and showrunner Mark Burnett denied this. Vetrini took and passed a lie detector test on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, while Omarosa skipped it. For the Wall Street Journal, Wade Paulson wrote, "We applaud Omarosa for being unafraid to burn the bridges in front of her, as well as the ones behind her. Let's see. Her lying makes her unemployable, her notoriety costs her an advertising job, and her arrogance may keep her off TV talk shows. We look for an announcement shortly that Omarosa is returning to the only venue friendly to arrogant, unpopular, unemployable liars: politics." But instead of fading or immediately jumping into politics, Omarosa's controversial appearance on The Apprentice set her on sale through the reality TV ecosystem, with a number of appearances on everything from Fear Factor to The Surreal Life to I Love New York to The Celebrity Apprentice.
I knew his weak spots, and I exploited them.
The mother of your children hates you, Pierce, and your children hate you, Pierce. They're embarrassed by you.
Leave my kids out of it.
Omarosa also received her own dating show, Donald Trump's The Ultimate Merger. Here was a black woman who allowed herself to be openly hated, and she capitalized on it.
You all have gotten to know him as a business mogul, as an entertainer, as a reality star, now as the president of the United States.
I can't make it up.
But I know him. I know it's got to burn your blood.
Anybody can be president. He proved it.
She'd of course be a major Trump ally until it no longer suited her. As a side note, no black woman ever won a Donald Trump internship after 14 seasons of The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice. For observers like Paget and Allison, this mirrored black women's real existences in corporate America. They cited psychology professor Valerie Purdy Vaughns, who wrote, "I've examined how people's brains are biased to ignore black women. When many think about black executives, they visualize black men. When they think about female executives, they visualize white women. Because black women are not seen as typical of the categories black or woman, people's brains fail to include them in both categories. Black women suffer from a now you see them, now you don't effect in the workplace." In 2011, Tia Tyree analyzed 10 shows, like Survivor and The Apprentice, to determine which cast members embodied a new or old black stereotype, and she found that 58% fit at least one stereotype. On 2004's America's Next Top Model, the groundbreaking success of Tyra Banks in a white industry didn't shield the black models on her show from racism or stereotypes of being angry or difficult. A&TM was one of UPN's highest rated shows and was the best performing show on the CW from 2007 to 2010. In Cycle 1, Ebony Haith thought Tyra was calling to apologize for a poor salon experience when having her head shaved, and instead was reprimanded for showing up ashy. She was called old, aggressive, and angry by the fashion crew and judges. The other models, including resident asshole Elise, complained about greasiness when Ebony tried to stay moisturized. Ebony remained calm, perceiving that production wanted to give her an angry black girl edit. As an open open lesbian, Ebony also clashed with the religious and homophobic Robin Manning, whose good looks and quirky Southern ways interested producers and kept her on the show through the final 4.
Self-righteous and all of those other things that are of demonic presence and bind Satan.
Cycle 3's Eva Marcel was introduced as a black bitch who needed to be reduced to tears before competing.
We had girls that were bitches. They didn't walk in as bitches, but they get to the house, they're considered a bitch. I don't want to cast another black bitch.
Eva went on to win Cycle 3 over Yaya DaCosta, who was also called mean and defensive, especially when being proudly pro-black.
I feel half African, half cowgirl. Looks like you're about to ride a giraffe. I think I'm not feeling it.
You have this intensity to prove your sort of Africanness, and I think that sometimes it's overbearing. It's just too much.
In response to trying to prove myself as an African, that's just where I come from. It's very natural to me.
There's a different way of explaining yourself and being defensive. And you're being very defensive, and it's not attractive.
Yaya has since gone on to be a successful actress. Another contestant from Cycle 3, Takara Jones, who was singled out for being plus-sized, was considered negative and hard to work with for advocating for more clothing sizes on set. She was cut the same week. In March 2026, Takara said of her experience on the show, "I knew it was going to be a reality show. You could tell that they were looking for models, but they were also looking for personalities, and they were filling in different characters. You gotta have the plus size girl, you gotta have the short girl, you gotta have the funny girl, you gotta have the exotic girl, you gotta have the mean girl." Yes, I understood this was for TV too.
Takara Jones was a legendary baddie in my neck of the woods and in urban media, okay?
Takara's elimination didn't end her career, and she went on to sign with LA Models and became the first black plus-size model to be in Italian Vogue. Takara added, "The black community held me down. I love my people so much. I love them so much. Even after the show, people just always held me in high regard. They've always given me their flowers every time, and it's been a 20-year plus run. And even to this day, people stop me and tell me how important it was to see a black woman with confidence with a real figure, a genuine person on the show, representing them. I'm honored." Not everyone's modeling careers fared so well.
I don't have a bad attitude. Maybe I am angry inside. I've been through stuff, so I'm angry. Yes. But this is not, be quiet, but everybody be quiet! I've never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Cycle 4 contestant Tiffany Richardson with the gorgeous mug was humiliated during that infamous scene with Tyra for not showing enough emotion when being eliminated. Tiffany had been selected for the competition the previous cycle, but a fight in a bar led to her being dismissed and directed to take an anger management class before returning the following cycle. Her redemption arc was a part of her storyline, and she even attempted to mentor fellow contestant Brandy. But by the time of her elimination, after stumbling through a teleprompter reading challenge, Tiffany had been struggling for a while. After being eliminated, when she chewed and swallowed her anger rather than breaking down and crying and yelling the way the judges wanted her to, Tyra snapped on her. Cycle 4 contestant Keyshia Hill was chastised by judges and producers when she spoke up about feeling sexually harassed by a male model on set. In Cycle 6, won by Danielle Evans, a white cast member was briefly allowed to progress to the semifinals to rile up arguments and boost ratings.
It's like 95% black girls. It was all black girls. Really? I didn't realize it was gonna be like that. Like whenever I went, I was like, okay. Yeah.
I mean, what's your point though?
I am the most uber conservative, Republican, hardcore Baptist you can ever imagine in your whole life. I don't like gay people. I don't like Muslims. I don't like abortions. I don't like anything liberal. But other than that, I really like to get along with people.
Well, you are not gonna make me the angry black woman.
I love that Farronda Brosfield went on to be a lawyer, by the way. Her insistence that she would not allow anyone to paint her as an angry black woman is all too common in the workplace, but it comes with negative side effects. According to the Journal of Ethnicity and Health, obligation to show strength/suppress emotion may increase risks for psychological distress among African American women who perceive racial microaggressions. Suppressed anger has also been linked to the rate of autoimmune disorders in black women. Over on BET, the network was trying to play catch up in the unscripted game with a spicy new show.
To this day, I still can't quite believe that, our institution is where it is as far as having, chosen a white young man who they felt was far better than any black person on this campus.
Even if Uncle Buck was purple,
He's not qualified to me. DJing parties does not make you capable to be a president to me. All these black people, and the only person we could find to run our school was the one white dude here. And I have no problems with Uncle Buck. Love him. You want to go Johnny, let's go Johnny. You're entertaining to me, but Chris Rock is entertaining to me, and I wouldn't vote for him to run my country. Goddamn, can we have something?
Produced by Edmonds Entertainment and billed as a cross between Real World and A Different World, the first 3 seasons of College Hill took place at the HBCUs Southern University, Langston University, and Virginia State University. At the time, the channel was facing backlash for its decision to air then shocking and controversial music videos on 106 & Park and BET Uncut beginning in 2000, as well as its finalized sale to Viacom in 2001, making it no longer black-owned. At the helm of College Hill's production was Babyface's wife Tracy Edmonds, who came up with the idea and described being given $800,000 for the entire first 13-episode season, which was barely enough. She described production as a skeleton crew, no real story producers or no real editors. While Tracy claimed that the show was 100% unscripted, some cast members remember being prompted to behave a certain way. Said Kandi Andrews of season 1, "The crew was always pretty laid back and friendly, although one camera guy did come and ask me if I would consider taking my castmate Jabari's virginity. I was pretty offended that he thought I was so gullible and that I would even consider that. But I know some people in this industry try to get as much as they can for the sake of the shock value, so I wasn't completely surprised." The first season at Louisiana's Southern University was the only one to film on campus, with Tracy explaining, "The board of directors had to approve all the episodes. I didn't want to water down the show. While I understood that it was the board's responsibility to protect the reputation of the university, people had to be realistic about the experience on any college campus. Students study, they have relationships, they let off steam, and that is the 360 experience of being a college student. We can't act like the only thing that a college student does is go to class and study, so we took the students off campus for seasons 2 through 6. That way, we kept ourselves from having to go through the board's approvals for edits, storylines, and all that kind of stuff." When reviewing the first season in 2004, Melanie McFarland said that BET's attempt at reality TV was too late, mentioning that the pregnancy storyline of Shalandria paled in comparison to bubble-brained Kinda, the resident skeezer who refuses to wear underwear and has a freak bag stuffed in her room. The other girls, Nene, the smiling cheerleader, and Veronica, a rich girl with swiveling hips, spend a great deal of the first episode tut-tutting with disapproval at Miss Kinda's nastiness, particularly when she brings over a guy introduced as her cousin before closing the door. McFarland called the show boring, but for black audiences, the sight of HBCU students was fascinating and more than a tad controversial.
Extra, extra, here's the latest. Television's first African-American reality show is back.
And it just feels good to live the true college life.
College Hill, where 8 students under one roof equals too much drama. BET and Edmonds Entertainment bring you the sophomore season of the groundbreaking series that's breaking all the rules. This year, BET enrolls at Langston University, where the students are off campus and all bets are off.
I guess you could say that I am afraid.
When the wildest cast in reality television goes off the hook.
You are a liar and you couldn't be real to this.
I don't know how long that brother gonna just sit there and just like let that girl just...
I'm gonna cry.
And that was just the first night. They're taking the real-life drama of higher education to another level. 8 students plus one roof equals too much drama. The new season of College Hill premiering Thursday, January 27th at 9.
I just feel so free here.
While season 2 at Langston U, Oklahoma's only HBCU, caused a surge in applicant interest, alumni and staff weren't happy. An assistant professor of history named James Showalter said, "We did receive around 20 new applications after the show aired. The question is whether these are the kind of students we want to be recruiting." Alumna and federal judge Theodore Haynes demanded an apology from the university administration and sent letters to churches and universities asking them to boycott BET. With this red tape, what was shown on TV was heavily edited. Season 3 saw the students of Virginia State stay at the historic Raglan Mansion. Said Season 3's Ray Cunningham, "They're not gonna show when we have family problems or us in our advisors' offices because we're failing a class or trying to figure out how to get in the cafe when your meal card is low."
Why do you keep touching my door?
Stop touching his door, Alana, for real. It's getting redundant.
These want cognac? I'm gonna give you some cognac.
Yeah, I keep, okay.
Drink it.
Hey, man, that better be water.
That's cool.
That's water. That's some high quality H2O.
While some observers complained about the sexual hijinks and arguments, Anya Holland of Season 3 questioned why certain things didn't make it to air, saying, "We did a lot of things that the audience did not see. We went to Washington, D.C. to hear Barack Obama speak, volunteered at a homeless shelter, and spoke with AIDS activists. There were positive things that happened that were not aired for whatever reason that would have made a more positive impact." When Season 2 was airing, David Stevens, national president of the Langston University Alumni Association, had a similar complaint, saying in 2005, "We're not denying this type of thing goes on, but we are questioning what are the motives behind presenting many of the negative aspects without showing the good that goes on." Season 4 at the University of the Virgin Islands, a school of about 2,000, was the #1 original series in Black households in 2007, with 1 to 2.2 million viewers an episode. Season 4 at the University of Virgin Islands, a school of about 2,000, was the #1 original series in Black households in 2007, with 1 to 2.2 million viewers an episode.
Yeah, what am I doing?
While he's on the phone with his girlfriend, like, Anisha's over here, like, flashing him, trying to be sexy to, like, get him in trouble with his girlfriend while he's on the phone with her.
Y'all gonna get me killed.
Temptation is everywhere. JT and Idisha are hooking up. Fallon and Andres are hooking up. There's about to be some freaky things going on in this house, y'all.
I have to tell him to, like, lower me. I know that he probably like me, but he ain't my type.
You funny.
Cultural differences between the Americans and the Islanders, especially Crystal's negative attitude, were significant features of the season. Many tuned in to see the infamous fight between Crystal and Vanessa.
Crystal, Crystal, go suck and you don't. Crystal, do not stack me up like that. I will get kicked out of here for your last trip. I will get kicked out of here.
Students and faculty were peeved. They had bars, and the university is a dry campus. We don't have co-ed living as depicted in the house. There is no visitation after midnight, said Ivan Connor, a student who led a class project on spreading awareness about College Hill before cameras arrived. In one campus flyer, students were warned, "Take pride in yourself and your university during this critical time. This may very well be a defining moment in the legacy of UVI." The potential influence of this worldwide TV series on the image of our university is immense. Exposure of this magnitude can either make or break the image of our university. The professor who created the assignment, Lonnie Hudspeth, compared College Hill to minstrel shows. President Laverne E. Ragster was forced to apologize to the university and the Virgin Islands community in newspaper ads, while the Board of Trustees, who also approved the BET cameras, cowered. Ragster and the presidents of Langston U and VSU met with Viacom and BET to discuss Black stereotypes on TV. Afterward, BET named the last 2 seasons after locations, Atlanta and South Beach, instead of schools. The 2000s also created a ferocious appetite for celebrity and celebrity-adjacent reality programming, like 2002's The Osbournes and The Anna Nicole Show, and 2005's The Girls Next Door. VH1 had mined ratings gold thanks to 2003's The Surreal Life, the spinoff Strange Love, and then Flavor of Love, creating a niche ecosystem of stars who worked, fought, spat, exposed themselves, acted out, and broke down for their chance at fame. For Flavor of Love's black women, they became black household names thanks to extended coverage in Viacom's various holdings. They hosted club nights, met fans, weaved themselves into the hip-hop periphery, and if they were lucky, appeared on more reality TV. Shay, Bucky Johnson, Larissa Boots Aurora, and Chandra Delicious Davis come to mind. The humorous Courtney Goldie Jackson even became a touring comedian with Monique for a while until she was fired for making a joke Monique didn't like. However, the biggest star to emerge from Flavor of Love was Tiffany New York Pollard, whose acidic tongue, dramatic overtures, and willingness to be disliked would keep her memes and name relevant for years to come.
Beyonce, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that an ugly ass bitch like this would even say that. Beyonce.
Pumpkin and Hoops. They're both sluts trying to sleep with my man. You know, when I'm next to Goldie, there is, you know, a difference. It's obvious, you know. She's a cute girl, you know, cute next to gorgeous. Gorgeous is gonna, you know, devour cute. I didn't like it, you know. They're both lesbians. I would say that Pumpkin would be the lipstick lesbian and Hoops would be, you know, the man.
Bye, Pumpkin.
Do it! Slap me, bitch!
Let's straighten that neck up and act like we're taking a photo shoot. Give it up, Delicious. You look like a man.
You can learn more about Flavor of Love in New York in this video. Flavor of Love became a standard by which black reality TV was compared to. How boring or how trashy was your show when compared side by side? BET tapped into the desire for celebrity drama with Keyshia Cole The Way It Is from 2006 to 2008, featuring the newly famous singer fresh off the platinum-selling album that inspired the show. As a native of Oakland, California, Keyshia had been born and raised amidst the crack use impacting her neighborhood. Seeing her success, despite the odds being stacked against her, attracted a sizable audience for BET. Explains Stephanie Frederick for the Los Angeles Sentinel. From 6 to 60, it seems like everyone is watching the BET hit docudrama. Give much credit to Keyshia and her compelling life story and how she was able to rise from a very rough and tough beginning in Oakland, California, dealing with a drug-addicted mother and lots of other drama to become a platinum-selling R&B superstar. Each week, James DuBose keeps the series from becoming another reality show embarrassment a la Flava Flav and Flavor of Love. And instead, he delivers a compelling and cleverly produced series that shows the real side of this young lady's life, which is ironically a rarity in reality TV. In doing so, DuBose shows he really cares about Keyshia and her seemingly hard to love at times family. James DuBose, who pressed Keyshia and her mother to sit down with therapists, also created the family-friendly Run's House in 2005 for VH1. In addition to promoting themes of family and forgiveness, Keyshia's tough and angry image was meaningfully interrogated in an era when black women were rarely allowed to be multidimensional. Said DuBose, Keyshia's been hardened by her circumstances. I understand her. Any young woman who's had to endure what she's had to endure, you'd have a greater appreciation of her and why she acts the way she does sometimes. Deep down, she's a very loving, caring individual. She wants to have the best life for herself and her family, and she has forgiven her mother. Still, the dysfunction was what people were tuning in for, which BET capitalized on with the spinoff Frankie and Neffy about Keyshia's mother and sister. Dysfunction was also key to the 2006 John Murray creation Bad Girls Club on Oxygen. Each and every person who appeared accepted the moniker of Bad Girl, with the show highlighting and defining them by their alcoholism, hypersexuality, trust issues, bullying traits, anger management follies, low self-esteem, etc. In 2012, Elijah Mercer wrote in Good Girls Gone Bad, Race and Gender in Oxygen's The Bad Girls Club. By framing the women, who actually range from ages 21 to 35, as girls, Bunham Murray Productions condones and glorifies these immature young women's outrageous behavior, and almost suggests it is a rites of passage to womanhood. Moreover, the show also sends a message to young girls that it is okay to act like a bad girl, since older women in their 20s and 30s are rewarded with camera time, an unlimited supply of alcohol, and a fancy limo to chauffeur them to endless party venues. In this sense, normal behavior is portrayed as boring, undesirable, and unworthy of attention, not just from men, but from television producers and casting crews. In turn, instead, drama, fighting, and excessive drinking is advertised as a more normal part of girls' lives.
You argue in your book, Joan, that women grow up learning to hurt other women, a product of several factors. Let's put them on the screen for folks at home to see. One of them is self-hate, rigid gender roles, damaging media messages, intense competition, psychological, biological, evolutionary pressures. You're basically saying that girls are hardwired to handle conflicts in a way that could lead to extreme bullying where they don't know how to stop.
She's only 9.
And they're already mean.
Do you ever think about hurting somebody else's feelings?
I think it's all right.
Who's the blame?
You've been mean to everyone around you.
For making cruel,
stealing their lunch money, and even punching them.
Look cool.
You need to get her under control right now.
It's our burn book. So we cut out girls' pictures from the yearbook, and then we wrote comments. Trang Pak is a grotesque little biatch.
Still true.
Dawn Schweitzer is a fat virgin.
Still half true.
Amber D'Alessio, she made out with a hot dog. Janice Ian Dyke. Who is that? I think that's that kid Damien.
Yeah, he's almost too gay to function. That's funny. Put that in there.
The 2000s were a notorious time for examining women's perceived natural cattiness, cliques, and mean girls, as well as exploiting and manipulating the poor behavior of child and teen stars in tabloids and blogs. The 2002 book Queen Bees and Wannabes by Rosalind Wiseman inspired the 2004 hit film Mean Girls, which not everyone got a message from, just one-liners and memes. Two series I love, 2004's The Clique and 2007's Gossip Girl, mingled with talk show segments on mean girls, out-of-control teenagers, and bullying. By the way, The Clique was intended to be satire, with author Lissy Harrison writing, "I wanted to show you how despicable bullying, snobbery, and elitism are by creating a character, Massey Block, who worked tirelessly and often heartlessly to maintain her alpha status." This flew over a lot of teenage girls' heads, like Lena Wilson, who penned How the Clique books taught me to hate other girls and myself.
I also read my fill of urban literature books, where good examples of friendship were hard to find, as betrayal and male-centered women were frequent tropes. In other media, exhibiting internalized misogyny made you one of the cool girls who wasn't like other females.
Giselle, you worthless. You are so wasteful, bitchy, stupid. You're worthless. Your parents must be ashamed of you.
And on reality shows themselves, bad behavior was rewarded with more screen time and an extension of one's 15 minutes of fame. Think The Flavor of Love girls going to charm school. While even on classy shows like The Bachelor, cattiness and competition for male attention was encouraged, within limits, of course. The behind-the-scenes drama of actresses like Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff over men was routine media fodder for preteens, teens, and young adults, who also invested time into catty paparazzi interviews with Hollywood royalty.
Paris, are you and Lindsay still friends, Paris? Paris, man.
Who's movie bomb?
Fire Crotch's movie bomb. Get in the car now.
That's enough, man. Paris, cut.
I'm sorry, Lindsay, what'd you say? So what?
So of course, Bad Girls Club fit neatly on the landscape. On the show, producers initially attempted to temper bad behavior, the drinking, yelling, intimidating, bullying, bar fighting, with conversations about growth, therapy, and only in season 2, mandatory nonprofit jobs. Season 1 included Ty and Leslie, a stripper. They were both from Atlanta.
Get up! Get up! Get up! I'll buy it back! I'll buy it back! I'll buy it back! Get the up! You get no sleep because of y'all! Y'all not gonna get no sleep because of me!
Season 2 featured breakout star Tanisha Thomas from Brooklyn. In season 4, I remember my hometown being a flutter with gossip because University of North Carolina Greensboro student, aka and Charlotte native Kendra James, was cast. She starred in the same season as Natalie Nunn, whose delusional declarations that she ran LA, her incessant bullying, statements taking up for Chris Brown over Rihanna, and getting beat up by fellow castmate Porsha overshadowed her blatant colorism and superiority complex.
Too black. Her nose looks like a gorilla nose. I'm Puerto Rican, Brazilian, and black. I grew up around like white kids, and so dark-skinned girls never seem to like me. If you do it like in a classy way, like where you're the victim, like I'm always the victim. Like she did this and that's why I lashed out.
Where are you stupid bitch? You wanna bring my child up in this?
I have never liked Natalie Nunn, and I was watching when the show debuted, honey.
Natalie was one of many reality stars who parlayed her willingness to do or say anything into a lucrative D-list career in the reality TV show economy, appearing on anything she could, shaving her chin down and emerging from the zeitgeist ashes in the 2020s to cause havoc on Zeus, which we'll be coming back to later. Other black women who managed to start careers on Bad Girls Club included season 5's Megan James, Shannon and Sinead Claremont during season 14, and Tabitha Robinson in season 16. Megan, like many of her reality TV peers, appeared on Marriage Boot Camp before securing a stint on Basketball Wives. The Claremont twins left the show when castmates destroyed their designer clothing and transitioned into being influencers. Tabitha ventured into another show coming up shortly and became a rapper named Dream Doll. But back to the 2000s, when reality TV was experimental. Numerous shows like Beauty and the Geek and the problematic The Swan wouldn't make it out of the decade.
She's not a Christian!
She could be a Jew and believe in God.
It doesn't matter. She's tampered in dark-sided stuff.
In the post-9/11 decade that was briefly obsessed with conservatism and patriotism, family content like 2004's Wife Swap and Trading Spouses, along with wedding-themed shows like 2004's Bridezillas, 2006's Platinum Weddings, and 2007's Say Yes to the Dress, debuted. Wrote Allison D. Ligon in Striving to Dress the Part, examining the absence of black women in different iterations of Say Yes to the Dress. It is striking that when black women are presented on these shows, it is almost as if they are enigmatic images, afterthoughts, unicorns and bridal gowns. For Ligon, she compared women standing on platforms showing off their bodies and requesting derriere-hugging, cleavage-enhancing, and sometimes tattoo-bearing dresses to black women at slave auctions, saying their appearances were often historical shame, not pride. Writing that black brides who are profiled on these shows must be made aware of how they choose to present themselves. Across the unscripted medium, black women have constantly been encouraged to be mindful of how they are representing and possibly misrepresenting the race. This meant their behavior was generally boiled down to performing for respectability, in the process promoting elitism and classism, or being minstrel stereotypes who embodied sex, anger, and sneakiness. These were not burdens white women had to worry about. In 2007, the same year that Style began airing Life in the Fab Lane with Kimora Lee Simmons, one of the most iconic episodes of the hit MTV show My Super Sweet 16 featured Tiana Taylor, who was fresh off of leading choreography for Beyonce's Single Ladies video when she had a lavish star-studded affair. In general, the 2000s were all about money, bling, and consumption, as I discussed in this video on my channel. This reflected in reality TV programming. Take MTV's 2004 series Laguna Beach, which launched a dull and highly contrived yet cinematic franchise about wealthy white teens from the West Coast. It led to The Hills and The City. All three shows were notorious for being super fake. Said Kristen Cavallari, "We only filmed The Hills 3 days a week, and we did 3 different scenes each day and a change of clothes to film a specific scene. They were pushing it as far as they could go without an actual script. They gave you a schedule like, you have lunch with Heidi Montag at 3 to talk about the party coming up," or whatever the situation may be. BET wanted its own version of these affluent shows. Baldwin Hills was supposed to be the Black Laguna Beach, and it was an aspirational and location-based teenage unscripted series that lasted for 3 seasons of 30 episodes from 2007 to 2009. It offered a number of people their first glimpse into the middle to upper class of Black Los Angeles beyond Moesha. The show's intro reminded the audience, not all black people live in the ghetto. This is our hood. Big houses, manicured lawns, amazing vistas. To magnify the wealth of the 16 to 19-year-olds, Stacy, who didn't live in Baldwin Hills, was cast to show a more humble lifestyle, like being shown shopping at Rainbow.
I love me some Rainbow, and you cannot shame me.
Remarked John Caramanica in his review. The unusually entitled young person has become a familiar TV trope in recent years, but save for reruns of The Cosby Show and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, black teens in this income bracket are largely absent. Baldwin Hills featured the offspring of black athletes and entertainers like Cheryl Lee Ralph's son, Etienne. Wrote Mike Hale, "What would reality television be without stereotypes? Nothing comes to mind, does it?" So the producers of Baldwin Hills managed to have it both ways by exploiting some of the neighborhood's own received ideas, particularly those about crazy ghetto girls and inauthentic bougie snobs, and it makes for highly satisfying, if not exactly exciting, television. The show's 11 cast members, ages 16 to 19, whose upper middle class parents include 2 former NBA stars, are the smartest, funniest, most charming, and generally most well-behaved group of teenagers imaginable. Instead of the drama of racial inequity, we get the more ordinary drama of spoiled kids trying, very politely, to take advantage of their parents. It's interesting that BET decided to highlight the class divide between black Americans during its 30-minute episodes, with Hale adding, "Baldwin Hills is in constant danger of turning into the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, albeit with better jokes." The show avoids that fate by focusing much of its attention on the hugely charismatic Stacy, the only cast member to live in the low-lying, less wealthy district known as the Jays for the jungle, and her constant nemesis, Garnett, the self-possessed queen bee of the girls up the hill. At the end of season 2, Stacy revealed she was pregnant by an older man, and in the season finale, the cast celebrated with an Obama party. Speaking of Obama, his arrival in the White House in 2009 was called a reality show presidency by Ari Melber, who detailed how American and media obsession with the first black president leaned on apolitical fluff. We'd see later how this coverage riled up racists and impressed black Americans concerned with identity optics. This fascination and hatred of Obama meant many people glazed over policy decisions. Melber wrote, "The trends began in the early 1990s with 24-hour cable news and reality programming, and intensified in the past few years with the rise of celebrity culture and micro-broadcasting technology. This is the first administration, however, to fuse iterative, real-time lifestyle coverage with the star power of a true celebrity politician. Both Obama staffers and celebrity news executives agree that celebrity-driven media coverage has reached a new level at the White House. To generate personality-driven coverage, White House press aides now give coveted access to celebrity outlets like E! and Us Weekly. This was the reality show era. BET's Harlem Heights premiered in 2008, with its first episode showcasing the cast voting in the historic 2008 election, as Obama's importance and the accompanying cry for more examples of black excellence seeped into reality TV.
Some of the sponsors and Harlem tastemakers weighed in on how the show will affect the perception of Harlem.
We celebrate and recognize the beauty of African American women and of our skin. So for us, being a part of this event was just a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate African American women and African American people as a whole. This new show, BET's Harlem Heights, is going to offer the world a glimpse into our community and our culture, showing how we live day in and day out. We're professional people, we're educated, we're living our lives day in and day out. And for us to be a part of this is such a wonderful opportunity because we support the same thing, supporting African American people and celebrating the beautifulness and diversity of that community.
I'm hoping to see anything that combats your general stereotypical videos. And so I applaud BET for embracing the new era of television and showing and giving young people role models and people to look up to, college graduates, African American young people.
The show, it holds dear and near to my heart because it really reflects the way, like Randolph and I, the co-creator, how we grew up and here, living in America, trying to make it in a big city. Like both of us worked in MTV, we worked in entertainment, and we want to make our lives better. We want to come home with something to be proud of for our families and things like that. So this is just a reflection of life for that young black professional that we haven't seen in a while.
Wrote Jania Belafonte. Populated by ambitious editors, activists, and aspiring designers in their 20s, the show takes place in low-lit bars and well-decorated apartments in the wealthiest sections of Harlem. It's the city, if Whitney Port could identify Marcus Garvey. While Laguna Beach spat forth the boring yet highly profitable Lauren L.C. Conrad and others who have faded into the annals of the zeitgeist or tried to become politicians, neither Baldwin Hills or Harlem Heights created any stars who were paid to be influencers, magazine cover girls, girls or to star in Hollywood productions. That was still elusive for Black reality cast members. But one show blended Black women, culture, consumption, and location together to create a new era of unscripted celebrity. In 2013, it was reported that Black people watched 37% more television than any other group, averaging 7 hours and 17 minutes a day. 6 of the top 10 shows for these viewers were reality TV. The following year, The Hollywood Reporter declared that reality TV shows with all or mostly Black casts were among the biggest hits on cable. While BET was moving away from unscripted programming, the other networks saw dollar signs. In 2011, Oprah Winfrey's own network stepped into the ring with Welcome to Sweetie Pies and later Raising Whitley. The Style Network gave Tia and Tamara Mowry a show in 2011, while WeTV gathered together Toni Braxton and family for Braxton Family Values, and TV One collected former R&B stars like Keke Wyatt and Faith Evans for R&B Divas Atlanta the following year. Since the Osbournes and The Surreal Life, fallen and niche stars had learned they could widen their audience if they joined an unscripted show. In 2011, VH1 broadcast T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, to stellar ratings, offering a dysfunctional family reality show based around T.I.'s return to his family after a prison stint. Tiny had previously documented her desire to work, despite T.I.'s opposition, in 2009's Tiny and Toya. While The Family Hustle led with Family, T.I. was shown treating his wife like a child, cheating on her, and being generally unsupportive, which was written about in From 1990s Girl to Hip Hop Wife, an analysis of the portrayal of Tiny as Black mother in reality television. The Family Hustle was canceled a decade later when T.I. and Tiny were both accused of forced drugging, kidnapping, rape, and intimidation. The Family Hustle was one of many of the 2010s. Wrote Mikey O'Connell for The Hollywood Reporter in 2014, "Call it the Tyler Perry effect. There is a hungry African-American audience to be tapped outside of traditional Black targeted networks, and it's an audience with money." The National Association of Broadcasters projects African-American buying power rising 25% to $1.2 trillion between 2010 and 2015. Still, there has long been a disparity between advertising revenue for white viewers. Black audiences still command smaller rates for networks. Perhaps for this reason, networks remain careful not to outwardly identify the trend, but their slates speak for themselves. At the vanguard of these Black programs was a show based in Atlanta.
Before COVID struck, I didn't watch much reality TV. And when I did, it was Chopped and other Food Network originals. I was a girl who wanted pure fiction on my TV when I watched it. But being confined to the house all day, away from restaurants, clubs, people, and activities, made me want slice of life reality. Loneliness made me crave seeing people interact with each other and live their lives without masks. So I dove into Real Housewives of Atlanta, which I hadn't seen since season 1 back in high school. It, and eventually Potomac, quickly became a guilty pleasure.
Inspired by soap operas like the ABC smash primetime hit Desperate Housewives, the Real Housewives franchise started in 2006 in Orange County. Said reviewer Andrew Wallenstein, "The women of Real Housewives are a lot like their mansions, impeccably maintained facades. But what the show does so well is point out the cracks. The viewer, in turn, is left to pinball between mixed feelings of revulsion, fascination, and yes, envy about what they're seeing. In its own tawdry way, Real Housewives raises existential questions about what the good life really entails. But maybe I'm just rationalizing. Maybe it's as simple as I'm a sucker for fancy cars and multi-million-dollar houses. That's what makes me feel guilty about watching The Real Housewives. Yeah, I love the show, but now I hate myself." Bravo added a New York franchise 2 years later. After being sent a casting tape called The Ladies of Hotlanta by a producer named Princess Benton Lofters, Bravo hired production company Truly Original to get the Atlanta-based franchise off the ground. One of the associate producers was Carlos King, who would be integral to the series until he left in 2019. "Atlanta is a mecca for wealthy African Americans," declared Lanithia Nene Leakes at the top of the premiere episode on October 7, 2008. A montage featuring the cast, cut with luxury cars and homes homes, jewelry, unidentified black professionals, golfing, Angie Stone, and Tyler Perry followed, with Lisa Wu saying, "Image is everything in Atlanta." Viewers immediately knew what they were in for, sticking around to watch Deshawn Snow tour her 15,000 square foot custom-built home with her basketball player husband and sons. She announced that not only did she need an estate manager, executive housekeeper, a maid crew, and a chef, but she also needed a nanny and a governess, and later, a personal assistant. Former NFL wife Sheree Whitfield mentioned that she was battling her ex-husband for a 7-figure settlement in their ongoing divorce. In the midst of a recession, this was lush escapism for many viewers.
I think my party is definitely going to be a fashion show. Everybody's going to do a little extra tonight. We're definitely all into fashion. Kim, myself, Lisa, and Nene. I would not put Nene and fashion in the same sentence.
When Real Housewives of Atlanta premiered, 656,000 people watched. The viewers mounted, and it surpassed viewership of the OC. It was quite frankly unlike anything that had been seen on black televisions. Here were funny women with designer clothes, wealthy husbands, nice cars, and cameras chasing them around the South's black mecca. They each earned roughly $10,000 for their appearance. Subsequent seasons showed how the women's new source of income and opportunities upgraded their lives, glam, and fashion. As discussed in the semiotics of fashion and urban success in Real Housewives of Atlanta, Cynthia Davis pointed out how the show fulfilled a recurring historic desire in the black community to present affluential lifestyles to black women, like in our publications. She wrote, "If one removes the references to thrift and budgeting, never concerns of the Atlanta Housewives, half-century's values are exactly those espoused on RHOA. Fashion, entertaining, interior decorating, self-improvement, family relationships, and community leadership."
Twisted Hearts is the name of my foundation. Our slogan is battered but not broken. We want to bring awareness to domestic violence. I'm going to have the very first big hat brunch where all the ladies will wear their big hats like they're going to the Derby. Hats are definitely a tradition in the African American community. I love that. Let me try that. A lot of the women back in the day would wear hats to church. Try this on. You gotta try this one on. So I thought it would be great if we brought the theme Big Hat back.
Because capitalist media teaches us to consume, Real Housewives is in line with Queen for a Day back in the 50s. But at the center of this consumerist and patriarchal frenzy were black women who had been traditionally denied the privilege of leisurely glamour in the public eye. Because the show was airing during Obama mania and during a recession, and black women were the stars, the show faced mild backlash, wrote Phil Clower for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The timing of a TV show that wallows in wealthy indulgence when millions are panicking about their financial futures struck some viewers as especially tacky, said Bethany Frankel, who was one of the Real Housewives of New York. In this dreadful financial climate, it is particularly unbelievable to watch this level of conspicuous consumption. Frankel called the Atlanta series Cribs meets Jerry Springer. Frankel also called Atlanta Real Housewives in the Hood in 2009. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution asked Atlanta area housewives what they thought of the show, with many white women, who I looked up to verify as such, voicing their distaste over the peach holders' lifestyles and perceived lack of child rearing, including a white woman who wrote a book about coping with the hardships of being a housewife. Wrote Clore, Sherry Caldwell used to live in Buckhead and said she was friends with women who had expensive tastes and nannies for their children. But it's still not an accurate representation of housewives in Atlanta. That's not the real women of Atlanta, not the women I know. In comment sections of blogs and message boards, Atlanta-based users said they hoped Atlanta's image didn't suffer from the televised antics of these new money women. But some stuck around to hate watch, enjoying the deflation of ego, the hubris, and the eventual tingle of Schadenfraude, like watching with grim fascination when cast members went broke, had homes foreclosed upon, or got divorced. Said a commenter who started a thread about her dislike, "I will admit though, this is like a train wreck, and if I stumble upon it, I just cannot turn away." Others eventually became charmed by the Atlanta Housewives despite their initial gut reactions to hate. Whiteness on the Real Housewives of Atlanta reflected the city's racial demographics. Pre-Housewives in 2000, Atlanta was 31% white and 61% black. Added Davis, the white people on the show, like their gay counterparts, occupy subordinate roles as agents, salespeople, lawyers, waiters, and wedding consultants, and are deferential to the show's stars. The lone white cast member through the middle of season 5, Kim Zolciak, said she didn't feel out of place in Atlanta and that she was a black woman trapped in a white woman's body. She was a chain-smoking, wig-wearing single mother being kept by a married man who drank glasses of wine in her parked car and described herself as materialistic. She aspired to be a country singer and had a long-running frenemy beef with Nene.
I didn't like when Kim said on the show, I didn't want to go to Deshaun's barbecue and hang out with Nene and eat chicken. You know, I found that comment to be very suspect.
I'm not a racist at all. I mean, I don't even see color. I never have.
In season 3, Kim's treatment of her personal assistant, Sweetie, made castmates and viewers uncomfortable.
Sweetie! Sweetie! Pick me up.
Sweetie, get me my cigarettes right now. Sweetie, hurry, run.
Sweetie, where's my hair?
Oh, I hate my life.
Sweetie do this, Sweetie do that. I don't know how Sweetie deals with being talked to like that.
What the are you doing? You like a damn slave master sitting on the damn plantation. The way that you guys interact with each other, you know, people might find that to be offensive.
What is offensive about the way that we interact?
Kim, you're white and Sweetie's black.
But white and black and all this shenanigans, I don't even see that.
I know you don't, but that's the problem.
If you felt like you were a slave, would you tell me?
I don't know why she thinks I'm a slave. If I am a slave, slaves don't get paid. Dumbass.
So, about Nene, who was the boisterous former stripper and married mother of 2. She was the star of the show. Her reads, shade, and flair for feuds brought her national attention, eventual Hollywood roles, and an ego the size of Chateau Charest. Hate Nene or love her, she's rippled across the cultural zeitgeist. Her words and face have created countless memes, inspiring countless personalities, and enabling the continued internet phenomenon of digital blackface. Nene also changed the nature of Bravo programming. At the wrap of Atlanta's first season, Bravo didn't automatically guarantee reunions for its shows, but Nene pushed for one because of Kim's bold confessionals, and she wanted to confront her face on, and the resulting show drew approximately 3 million viewers.
Close your legs to married men. Close your legs to married men.
Excuse
you heard
me?
me?
The following morning, then CEO of NBC Universal, Jeff Zucker, emailed Andy Cohen to congratulate him. The show did well in the ratings, but the reunion really sealed the deal that Atlanta was a hit, said Executive Vice President of Programming, Lauren Eskelin. The women of Atlanta were focused on performing and putting on a show, except for one member, Deshaun Snow, who avoided confrontation and showed a relaxed lifestyle with her NBA husband and children while running a self-esteem foundation for girls. After refusing at the reunion to react to the mean things her cast members had been saying about her, she was fired. Deshaun said in January 2009, "Because the show did so well, they're about to pump up the drama, and producers didn't think that I would fit in." Was this the right move for the franchise? It was definitely the right move for Deshaun, whose husband filed for divorce in 2010 when his side chick was pregnant. "I don't know if I would have wanted to go through that on camera," Deshaun said to Madame Noir. Housewives who remained on the show needed to be vulnerable and willing to be embarrassed. No boring veneer of perfection. Deshaun later divulged in Not All Diamonds in Rosé, "It's funny, I still watch the show. I'm a big fan. And there are times I'll be like, this is boring. I don't want to watch her. So I get why nobody wanted to watch me. I was boring." Defining and avoiding boring has been pretty crucial since the advent of reality TV. But as cast members of various productions have gotten more open, malleable, vicious, and hungry for the type of fame that can sustain someone for life, boring has increasingly meant a willingness to divulge every personal humiliation and setback for the cameras. And of course, being willing to be like that.
So nasty.
And that's what happened.
So rude.
Remarked model Cynthia Bailey, who joined the cast in season 3. "None of the girls liked me after the first season, but I watched and I figured out the game. Like, it never occurred to me to be mean-spirited in the interviews. I was going in there like everything's unicorns and rainbows."
For the rest of this time we sitting up here, get your team to help you out.
All right.
Get your team to help you out.
Okay, you guys.
Oh, don't make that face. Ooh.
Fix that bag.
Fix that face.
Fix that bag.
What do you?
Fix that face.
Being shady in person, in confessionals, and especially at reunions became a hallmark of an entertaining housewife. To earn the now estimated $50,000 check for season 2 and the eventual 6 figures of following seasons, nobody wanted to be boring. The peach holders that remained in season 2 were so willing to not be boring that they pump faked. In a 2009 article reporting that Lisa Wu and her husband's home were being foreclosed upon, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution added, Sheree Whitfield lost her Sandy Springs home earlier this year due to foreclosure, and Nene and Gregory Leaks were evicted from their 5-bedroom Duluth home last fall after Wynwood Properties filed a notice that Gregory Leaks owed $6,240 in past due rent.
The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
If it doesn't make me money, I don't do it.
It's a reality TV show that takes viewers into the homes and lives of some of Atlanta's well-to-do.
People are intimidated by my success.
It's about people who live in homes like this, wives with chefs, ladies who get massages whenever they want. And the biggest housewife personality to jump off of the screen is the tangy-tongued Nene Leakes.
I don't keep up with the Joneses. I am the Joneses.
On the Bravo Network series, Nene Leakes lives here in this upscale Sugarloaf subdivision with her husband Greg. Viewers ride along when the Leakes buy their teenage son this $42,000 truck.
And your girl, I will be wearing diamonds as well.
Where do Nene and Greg Leakes get all of this money? The show's online bio says Greg Leakes is a successful real estate investor and business consultant. Nene, whose real name is Lenethia, runs a charity. Fans love her for her what you see is what you get attitude.
I don't like to pretend.
But that's exactly what some people say the Leakes are doing, pretending. Real estate records show that Nene and Greg Leakes don't own this luxury home. In fact, they don't even live here anymore. The reality is this, that Greg Leakes owes a lot of people a lot of money.
All of this financial drama, of course, made for interesting TV. If you were willing to stick it out and be called broke during your first or second season, you could earn a very big check and start living the lifestyle that you pretended to have.
While you were running your mouth with him, I was running to the bank, sweetie, and depositing a Trump check. Honey, Donald Trump. Yeah, the one you laughed at. I am rich. I don't need anything from you. You are the one that's losing houses and cars, honey.
In season 2, Real Housewives of Atlanta was getting 3.2 million viewers an episode, and Nene's ego and victimhood mentality kind of set the standard for the show, wrote Denise Martin for the LA Times in 2009. The problem with the Real Housewives of Atlanta's breakout wife Nene Leakes is that she wants it both ways. She wants the fame of Bravo's top reality show about the backstabbing high school style shenanigans of 5 well-to-do Atlantans, but she doesn't want the baggage, namely that she's the brash manipulator the show makes her out to be. In a recent interview with Essence, Leakes rebutted accusations that she had become a mean-spirited, publicity-hungry reality star, saying that the show's editing had made her appear to be an evil person. Someone who got called boring a lot during her tenure on the show is Kandi Burruss, which I highly disagree with.
I may be small, but my empire keeps on growing.
She said on joining in season 2, it caught a lot of flack after the first season, especially from the African American community. They were like, oh, it's painting black women in a bad light. So when I would mention that I was thinking about joining the show, a lot of people were like, oh, don't do that. That's not a good look. You should never be a part of something like that. And I was like, well, I don't understand. If you feel that the women on the show don't really represent well for black people and you feel that I'm a good representation of a black person, why wouldn't you want me to be a part of the show? A major early storyline for Kandi, apart from being engaged to a man named AJ who later was murdered outside of a strip club, was her friendship and fallout with Kim Zolciak, who owed Kandi royalties for their collaboration song, Don't Be Tardy for the Party. Kandi didn't play about her money, nor did she put on airs, regularly reminding castmates and viewers that she was on a budget while investing in establishing businesses. As for Kim, apart from her scattered appearances after quitting the show in season 5, producers never added another white housewife, instead giving Kim her own show. Through Kandi, we saw a talented and atypical national celebrity. Southern, dark-skinned, teetotaler, run businesses, win awards, and do community work. She also may or may not have encouraged her loyal gang of friends and workers to do her dirty work, but
drag you in this bitch.
As a viewer, Kandi was my favorite cast member, and it sucks ass that she's a Diddy apologist. But before that revelation, she was good TV. What endeared me to Kandi was her not being afraid of Nene and the fact that others called her ghetto. But she was the wealthiest of the group and had a respected career outside of the show in the music industry. She was also one of the most outspoken cast members on the topic of sex. In true Kandi fashion, when people called her a hoe, she started a sex podcast and a sex toy line.
Kandi, are you a lesbian?
Ooh, and been saying that.
Who said that?
Who said that? Who said that?
When people questioned if she was a lesbian, she reminded them she had been open about her past same-sex experiences.
It ain't no secret. I done hooked up with a chick before. It ain't never been a secret. I don't live my life like that. You do.
I live my life how?
In secret.
Oh, how? What secret?
Well, you done been with chicks before and all that.
You told someone that you were going to drug me and take me to a sex dungeon.
Sheree, do you hear this lie?
Leave the drug thing alone. Yeah, that ain't no surface shade. That is some deep, deep libel.
I will sue your ass if you keep saying it. I know that. You lying ass bitch.
She has the right to deny that.
You can have the right to stop saying that shit. I know that.
When she and her then husband Todd Tucker were libeled as date rapists by Porsha Williams, who repeated a rumor from Phaedra Parks that Kandi planned to keep her in a dungeon, the couple created a BDSM burlesque show called Kandi's Dungeon. Through Kandi, as the show progressed, conversations about sex went from being a bit shocking to a bit routine. Some would say a little too routine.
You know, whenever I'm around Kandi, all you have to do is talk about penis and vajayjays, and it's a great conversation to her.
Regardless, a rewatch of Atlanta Housewives reflects the ways Black respectability politics have shifted in the past 20 or so years. The gradual acceptance of sexualized environments and topics was most exhibited by the metamorphosis of Porsha Williams.
Okay, bye, Porsha. Okay, bye, Ashley.
In season 5, the 31-year-old granddaughter of civil rights activist Hosea Williams was introduced as the wife of football player Cordell Stewart. Though their lavish nuptials had been captured on WeTV's Platinum Weddings in 2011, by 2012 on The Housewives, the marriage was in shambles, clearly.
I'm in control.
You in control of what?
Well, just in general, I'm in control. It's like I'm a man. I have responsibilities.
But you're not saying you're in control.
No, not of you. I'm in control, but I'm not controlling. That's just a big difference.
I feel a little confused about what we want and where we're going.
A major defining moment happened for Porsha during the cast trip to Las Vegas, when the women wanted to visit a strip club.
I don't want to go to a strip club.
Why?
Cordell would not be okay with that.
I have been through every experience in my life. I get it. I can always find a bitch who's being controlled.
You can't go to the strip club.
I'm a good judge of character. I got you.
Thinking like, okay, you scared your man gonna be mad because you went to the strip club or something? Like, why is it so serious?
I'm a go along, get along type of girl. But I have a ministry inside of me to help other women who are my age. Okay, ladies, give me a hug. Bye, guys. I don't like to see a woman sell her body like that. Strip clubs make me sad. It's just a personal choice.
Porsha told Wendy Williams, if anybody decided to be a 1950s wife, it was me. I was an independent woman. I had my own business. I was a boss. I had a lot of responsibility. When I met Cordell, I decided to make him and his son my everything. Would it surprise you to know that Porsha was divorced by the end of her second season, became the self-proclaimed princess of Thoughtlandia? She embarrassed herself and a 24-year-old football player she was dating for a month with a big party, tried to eat Kandi's pussy after sharing a kiss and lied about it, begged a conservative lobbyist for his sperm in a baby nuptial, got impregnated by and engaged to a hot dog mogul who cheated on her in under a year, fought with his family, protested police brutality in 2020, and was arrested for calling attention to Breonna Taylor, stole a friend's husband, got married to him, and divorced him 15 months later while denouncing him as a scammer. And is now, wait for it, full circle moment, living her new truth as a bisexual, dating a woman.
Honestly, this sounds like me crafting storylines for my messiest Sims. If you know, you know.
If she gets drunk, she becomes an aggressive lesbian.
I'm not aggressive. Okay, Okay, that was messy. That was just a little bit messy. I'm sorry. That was a little messy.
For all their yammering about sex, the peach holders' attitudes often reflected their age and personal experiences with the Black community's unique brand of sex negativity. While all of the recurring cast members went to strip clubs, wore revealing clothing, and talked about ass a lot, they regularly interrogated each other's sexuality to categorize someone as lesbian, but never bisexual. They've also frequently made homophobic allegations against people's husbands. Nene's past as a stripper and her time as a host of a highly sexual Cirque du Soleil show didn't mean that she was open about sex. In fact, several times implying the opposite. Kandi's insistence on having a sex party while plugging bedroom candy usually led to well-timed drama. When a sex party thrown by Kandi in season 13 led to an infamous alleged incident with Porsha, friend of the show Tanya Sam, and a stripper named Bolo, Kenya Moore went on a slut-shaming tirade demanding for the women to admit to having sex with him. Tanya felt so vulnerable that she left the show. Kenya's reaction to grown women possibly having sex off camera was a bit ironic, as Kenya spent her first few seasons being told that she was a whore from the 90s, was accused of flirting with people's husbands, and shouldered scandalous rumors from her time in Hollywood.
The Housewives also pressed Kenya to admit that she had paid a man named Walter to appear as her boyfriend during her first season.
Fake or not, Kenya's romance and familial woes were hard to stomach. Not only was she estranged from her mother, who gave her up for adoption when she was a baby, but still in touch with her mother's entire family, but she married a contemptuous man named Mark in 2017 after dating for a few months, had his child, and then divorced after 2 years. When she decided to display alleged revenge porn of a castmate during season 16, she was ultimately dismissed from the cast. But let's rewind a bit. Reviews of housewife shows from the 2010s understood that the program was mainly fluff and filler, with recurring real circumstances, like Nene's paternity storyline, the murder of Kandi's ex-fiance, and the various marriages and divorces. Additionally, the peach holders may have been petty and messy, but on several occasions the women engaged in community care and philanthropy, though not always with great success, like Deshaun Snow throwing a pricey event in a failed attempt to fundraise $1 million in one night. Some polls and studies show Black women are statistically likely to be pillars of their community. According to Pew Research Center, of the 78% of Black Americans who feel somewhat or extremely obligated to look out for other Black people, 42% of women often feel a responsibility to look out for other Black people, compared with 35% of men.
These children have been poisoned by the water system, and the government has done very little to help them. So it's very important for me to be a voice for the voiceless and hopefully affect change.
You are going to be all right. I'm not just a one-time deal. I'm going to see you past this.
Thank you. This means a lot. Like getting us out for a week, that's good. That really touched my heart to know that you did that for us. We gotta make it for each other.
It's realistic, at least in my world, to see imperfect Black people, especially Black women, giving back to their communities and caring about our roots. When the Housewives visited South Africa, a review for Atlanta magazine by Richard Eldridge read, "In what is perhaps the most selfless act ever performed on a Bravo reality show with the word Housewives in the title, the ladies then dispensed much-needed supplies to the orphanage and commenced playing with the children. Somewhere, Mother Teresa is smiling. She is also scratching her head and silently, spiritually asking, who are these trifling bitches and how can they walk in those 9-inch Jimmy Choo wedges?" Dr. Nsinga Burton viewed the series of South Africa episodes with a much more critical lens, writing about Phaedra and Sheree's behavior before the trip at the Apex Museum in Atlanta and the Housewives' outdated views on Africa. She said in 2012, "I know what you're thinking. Why do I watch? I actually don't watch the show, especially last season's drama with Kim Zolciak, Nene Leakes, and Sweetie. I stumbled across this season's broadcast, and in the future, we'll keep it moving, because I will not be watching any programming on the Bravo network in the near future. I can't take any more denigrating images of Black women being circulated around the world and lining the pockets of network executives. Besides, they don't need me. They've got 3.9 million people watching."
The children sing for us, and I mean, it's very sad because they're trying to entertain us, which is beautiful, but at the same time, it means more that we help them because we have wonderful lives, all of us, even crazy Marlo. We live very well, and to see these children going out of their way to make us feel welcome is just very touching.
Of course, the sweet aspects of the trip were then followed by more arguments and disdain.
This is so stupid. Oh my God.
Would an audience stick around for pure learning lessons and culture?
I used to go to strip club every day. My mind was up because why? I just came home from prison. My wife, she always had a concern, well, why are you always in the strip club every night? So now it's more on a social level. I mean, I'm not ashamed of anything. I come home, I put a receipt on the table, and it's like $5,000 being spent, $8,000 being spent.
No, what I said, oh, no. I'm not backpedaling. Okay, so what is this? Is front pedaling. No. Please, no. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Ever put your hands on me. Don't you ever come at me like, yo. You bitch. Hold on. Don't you? Oh, my God. Come on, man. Who you want first?
Now, Nene, after Kenya, after Apollo, I just start seeing spirits in people's faces. How did it go from us having a regular conversation to grown people getting up boxing?
What's going on? I missed it.
We good.
What's going on?
You said what's going on?
Yeah, I wasn't here, so what's going on?
One of the most talked about episodes in Real Housewives of Atlanta history aired on surprise, my birthday, in 2014.
At the time, 68% of the show's 4.6 million viewers were Black.
4.6 million viewers, a season high, watched as the ladies and their men assembled in a hotel room in their pajamas to discuss relationships and sex. It spiraled. Misunderstandings, ego, alcohol, and male aggression could all be pointed to as the cause of the brawling, but it drummed up a bunch of criticism from viewers and even some embarrassment for the cast. Said Cynthia Bailey, "Unfortunately, the whole fighting thing is something we don't normally do. I don't think that's why people watch us, but at the same time, I guess that's why so many people tuned in. As a part of the cast, I personally don't celebrate it just in terms of the content. So yay, we got good ratings, but I don't really feel good about it happening." The drama of RHOA had leaked over into Bravo's other endeavors. It expanded its Black-focused series to the Atlanta-based Married to Medicine in 2013 and Blood, Sweat, and Heels starring Melissa Ford in 2014. While the latter was canceled, Married to Medicine caused more of a buzz. The show caught immediate backlash when a group of Black women created a petition to cancel the show. Black female physicians only compose 1% of the American workforce of physicians. Due to our small numbers, the depiction of Black female doctors in media on any scale highly affects the public's view on the character of all future and current African American female doctors. These women, who were mainly made up of Howard University students, believed that the show would heavily associate Black females in medicine with materialism, catfights, and unprofessionalism. Married to Medicine had a record-breaking debut. In episode 4 of the very first season, Mariah Huck and Toya Bush Harris got into a fight, no doubt agitating the Black women who created the petition. Married to Medicine is less popular than Real Housewives of Atlanta, but it's still in production because of the drama and cast. One of the standout things about Married to Medicine to me, apart from Dr. Heavenly being so awful that I don't understand how anyone would trust her with tools in their mouths, and Dr. Jackie's 2020 statement that Black women's flair for dramatics and crying wolf during pregnancy is why we aren't taken seriously, is that cast member Quad Webb bravely discussed abuse by her then husband and castmate, Dr. Greg Lunsford. Bravo continued to work with Dr. Greg, even documenting his new marriage and continued foul temper.
It's your fault. Don't say shit to make me go off.
It's not my fault. It's really not my fault.
It really is your fault.
I am entitled to my opinion, Gregory.
Your opinion makes no sense.
Right now, I understand it's a sensitive time.
You think you know everything, don't you?
I'm looking out for the team.
Well, you should look out for the team by listening to the leader of the team.
I understand that you're upset.
You're making me hype.
But it doesn't get to a point where you have to say I'm naive. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Be quiet.
I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Be quiet. Don't go.
Stop saying stupid stuff.
That's not saying stupid.
You won't get the reaction that you don't want.
Okay.
How about that?
Stop.
It's your fault.
While some of the castmates showed apprehension about working with Greg, they did it anyways. This brings me to an important topic. Bravo's handling of physical abuse leaves much to be desired. But in the realm of black culture, it reflects community attitudes.
Now, Bun, go on and get him. I don't want to call the police, but I will.
Stop playing with me, Phaedra.
Please, go away from me with this. Okay. Go away from me. Stop it, Apollo. I don't want to hear what you got to say. Stop it.
Listen to me for 1 second. Do not call the police.
Well, you need to start acting like you got good sense. What in the world is he doing? I'm really not sure what he's capable of at this moment because he has nothing to lose. No, just let him go. I'm not gonna call the police on him. Just let him go. Just let him go. I'm very protective of Apollo despite everything that he has done. He is the father of my children and I don't want to see anything bad happen to him.
In season 7 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Phaedra Parks was harassed by her jail-bound ex, Apollo Nida, on camera. As the mother of 2 boys, a big part of Phaedra's story over the years was supporting and protecting black men while showing an extra vindictive streak for women. For season Real Housewives watchers, you know and can recall that pageant queen and actress Kenya Moore was being messy and disrespectful when flirting with Apollo.
If you had to give Apollo a birthday present, and it involved 2 of your friends, name 2.
Look at Phaedra.
What are you talking about?
No, but what is she giving?
A pass for a birthday present treat.
A treat?
Bedroom way.
To have sex with, to get some hair from? Like, what
Have some fun, have some fun. Oh, no.
You can dance, you can model your shoes, you can show me your cervix. But please don't put your paws on Apollo, because I'm going to have an issue with that. I ain't in that. Keep going to
No.
Go on with that bullshit now before I get pissed. Go on, honey. These are fighting words in my neighborhood. So don't come up here with that, honey. I'm married. Go on now.
Listen, we
go on with that. Yeah, well, going on now. I ain't with all that.
But Apollo was responsible for fueling war between his wife and Kenya by falsely accusing the latter of offering him sex. Numerous problems spawned from this, and no matter how many temporary truces, a mutual dislike festered between the women.
And while she's sitting around running around talking about my husband and the father of my children, and she spends her weekends peddling through sperm banks, looking through catalogs to try to find a donor, honey, you don't know if your baby daddy will be an axe murderer or a child molester, because what you will know is that he needed $10 to get him a medium-sized pizza, so he ejaculated in a cup so you could have a kid. Now check that.
Even when Apollo admitted to lying on Kenya, both Nene and Phaedra refused to believe it. It's very poetic that Apollo ended up accusing Phaedra of cheating on him before he was sent off to prison. Fast forward to season 8, episode 7. The women are in Miami, and a friend of the cast named Tami, with a Nazi white husband, her words not mine, bumps into her nephew, an NBA player named Glenn Rice Jr., and his friend. She introduces them to the group. The pair have obviously been cleared by production, and it makes sense that of the yacht-traveling ladies, the single and bubbly Kenya invites them back to the mansion because she finds Glenn cute. On the yacht ride home, Glenn becomes upset at Kenya because she used her fingers to snap at him. The seed is planted.
The young buck. What's your name again?
Go ahead and snap at me.
Kenya boo-boo, men are dogs. You cannot snap at them and expect them to respond.
I was trying to get your attention. I'm sorry, baby.
You gotta find a better way.
For the rest of the evening, Glenn is antagonistic towards Kenya, and also Kandi, who's pregnant at the time.
Did I say congrats? Congrats, sweetheart.
Thanks.
Yeah, you was like,
Did I have attitude?
I'm asking you. I don't want nothing. You know I don't care. As long as I'm respectful, I'll do anything.
I'm a pregnant woman. You snapping at me? I don't know you.
Kenya's initial crush on Glenn is no longer relevant because she realizes that he's dangerous.
What's happening?
I don't know what the rules are.
I need him to move 50 feet away from Sheree because I don't know, he's a little weird.
Got a bit of attitude problem too. I ain't did nothing wrong. Have I?
Have you did anything wrong?
No way.
No.
Auntie coming over here to start trying. She is lurking over here.
Me talk bad about mom.
I didn't say I said she lurking. I said lurking.
You don't try to dare bring it my way.
Bring what? Shade?
Anything.
Oh, he's a little ready. That was
I'm from Atlanta
that
for
was
real.
feisty.
Y'all know that. If y'all from there, I'm not finna play with any bitch-ass bitches here on the bullshit.
The more I hang around this guy, the more that I see his behavior is erratic and he's kind of crazy.
When Kenya asked Glenn to leave because the word bitch has been rolling off his tongue all evening, the man walks towards her aggressively, spewing more epithets as the crew and security intervene.
This is crazy. A few minutes ago, Kenya was flinging her dress at Glenn. Now she wants to kick him out like he's the boogeyman. Which is it, boo?
I've been trying to talk to you all day. You've been really weird. You have made other people feel uncomfortable here. I just want you to leave. You didn't never make me feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel uncomfortable. Just
Little bitch. I'm gonna play none of little bitch.
In the fray, Glenn pushes his Aunt Tami to the ground where she hits her head. Glenn and his friend are ejected and escorted from the property. Tami gets taken to the hospital, and Phaedra, Sheree, and Porsha promptly blame Kenya for Glenn's violence, reminding the audience that Kenya thought Glenn was attractive, so she deserved whatever she got. Said Phaedra in a clip that makes my blood boil, "It's not cool what Kenya has done. She is like any white woman in suburbia who becomes afraid."
Phaedra, you tried it. Don't piss me off.
This incident was a reminder to me that despite reality TV's highly manipulated scenes, there's still usually a gimlet-eyed revelation about the human condition and social norms among groups. These problems may be exploited by reality TV producers, but they predate the medium. As a black woman from the South, it was disgusting, but not shocking, to watch the black women make excuses for Glenn, invoking their sons as they did so. "What if this had been my son?" they mused as Phaedra compared Glenn to Mike Brown. Mike Brown! Even Kim Field, the designated everyman and voice of reason of the season, made excuses.
Tami was standing there telling him, you have to leave, and all of a sudden, Kenya walks up like, yeah, you gotta go. Well, then it just,
That's not what happened.
you know, we saw it.
I get that and I understand what everybody's saying, but at the end of the day, even if she did, it still doesn't give him the right to turn around and be like, look here, little bitch, and come up to her aggressively.
No, it totally didn't give him that right.
But you just said it did, like it was okay.
We have security, and
That
security
doesn't
could have
justify
been
that.
justify somebody's
you kept
actions.
pushing him until you got a reaction.
But he's a man. He's never supposed to turn around. Like, she didn't slap him. She didn't hit him.
She didn't
even call him out his name. So y'all are just pacifying it like he just didn't do anything. And I cannot believe y'all acting like that was okay.
Because it was me. Because it was me. Oh, it was Kenya, so it's okay.
I'm saying just simply tell security to have him leave.
But here's, at the end of the day, can you do some crazy stuff? But in this situation, no, I wasn't with y'all earlier in the day on the boat. But even watching it back, you have to say that dude was saying some crazy stuff. Not just about her, about everybody. And regardless of whether you like Kenya or not, and regardless of whether she should have said anything else as he was walking out the door, he should never have aggressively turned around, started throwing up gang signs, calling her all kind of bitches, and like he was finna do something to her.
And he was.
It shouldn't have happened.
Glenn was later arrested for battery in 2016 and went on to have a troubled and violent career in Lithuanian and Israeli basketball leagues. In her own personal life, Phaedra's troubles with Apollo were swept under the rug. When asked by Andy Cohen if she was afraid that he would have gotten physical with her while cameras rolled, she deflected, saying, "My husband does have a temper and it can get out of hand. I just don't know." When asked directly, "Did he ever get physical with you?" she said, "I just don't know if I need to discuss that with you." Apollo was later accused of abuse by his second wife. Despite Apollo's erratic behavior, Kandi and some viewers were upset that Phaedra initially didn't want to bring her children to prison to visit Apollo, believing her comfort and safety should be sacrificed for his fatherly rights. These twisted rules for black women to perpetuate and encourage patriarchy and the protection and coddling of black men was further exposed when Sheree later admitted in season 9 that her ex-husband Bob was physically abusive throughout their marriage. And Kenya, who she originally castigated as the cause for Glenn going off back at the Miami mansion, comforted her in that moment. Unfortunately, season 9 also showcased Kenya's on and off again relationship with the abusive personal trainer, Matt Jordan. It was disturbing to watch her and producers be willing to film with him and extend forgiveness despite his numerous violent and aggressive outbursts. As an aside, because the white Andy Cohen is the host of the reunions, he can't facilitate these conversations the way many black women could. He can't press certain issues because it's not his place.
But am I invited to the cookout?
No. In season 10, Kenya directed a moving PSA about domestic violence in the black community. Even with Real Housewives of Atlanta's cattiness, storylines about prison and criminals, forgiveness of abuse, and the occasional fight, it was deemed leagues above the other popular unscripted content blossoming over on MTV and VH1.
Get off me. Brittany came to this place wanting to beat Marissa up. And what does she do? She gets popped in the forehead.
I'll shove my heel so far up your ugly. You don't even know what hit you. Get the off. Get off. Wait, where's she going?
She's drunk and disorderly. She's causing a scene. You see that?
I'm a good person.
Oh, you're stripping? You are stripping? Prostitution whore? You are f***ing engaged 19 times? You stupid bitch! Coming to my trap!
It would be extremely inaccurate to say that people didn't complain about white-led reality shows. Governor Chris Christie abhorred the GTL brigade who flocked to the Jersey Shore, and some Staten Islanders and Italian Americans objected to the glossy and violent mob wives. Said an Italian advocacy group, "I hope it dies because no one watches it. We were mobsters and mafiosos with The Sopranos, bimbos and buffoons with Jersey Shore, and now we're back where we started. It's a disgrace." So these shows were criticized as well. But Italian Americans are able to blend in with other European descendants, still benefit from white privilege, and have been well represented in other media and in politics. The year before Mob Wives, Basketball Wives premiered to positive ratings in 2010, and a spinoff in Los Angeles followed the next year. It was created by Shawnee Henderson, Shaquille O'Neal's ex-wife. Shawnee described feeling like she had lost her own identity with Shaq in an interview with CNN, adding that, "When I went into the concept of the show, it was really to prove all the people wrong who think that everyone sits around and gets mani-pedis all day, every day. These ladies have businesses, and while they are wild and crazy and having a good time, I don't think they are any different from the average woman in a relationship. They just have to deal with things on a whole different level, such as the groupies." No wonder Basketball Wives did well in the ratings. It was a slice of life, unscripted show about the once secretive world of highly paid athletes. A variety of women, wives, girlfriends, exes, groupies, side chicks, appeared on the show with Shawnee, including Tami Akbar, now Tammy Roman. Though I've never watched Basketball Wives in full, I do know that several popular memes originate from the cast. Review Troy Patterson. On Basketball Wives, VH1's anthropologists have studied the rituals of inclusion particular to a clique that includes Shaq's ex-wife and Antoine Walker's ex-fiancé, all while the network's lawyers encouraged everyone to use the word allegedly when gossiping third hand about road game hookups. The same year as that review, Haitian-American hip-hop manager and producer Mona Scott Young worked along white executives to deliver Love and Hip Hop, centering around New York rapper Jim Jones' girlfriend, Chrissy Lampkin, and her circle of friends. The first season was relatively well received by critics for going into the personal lives of rappers, but later seasons would see cast members allege nefarious manipulation by Mona and her team. Storylines revolved around paternity, begging for marriage proposals, being cheated on, issuing threats, and love triangles, like the season 4 ratings draw between Peter Gunn's Tara Wallace and Amina Butterfly. 3 million viewers a week tuned in to enjoy the messiness. But New York was overshadowed by the 2012 Atlanta spinoff. It was VH1's highest rated debut, 3.6 million viewers, and had 5.5 million by the end of the first season. The crime mob rapper Diamond was originally cast for the show, but broke her contract and quit a few weeks into filming because God told her it was the best thing to do.
That's a good thing because only God knows how she would have been humiliated.
It's hard to narrow down the most explosive and therefore humiliating storylines on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta because there are so many. Rapper Rasheeda is habitually cheated on, gaslit, and emotionally abused by her husband and manager Kirk Frost. And whether you marvel over her desire to remain married by by any means necessary or feel bad for her as a retro revered symbol of the black woman who was ride or die, her storylines are terrible. She also mocked and questioned castmate K. Michelle's experience with domestic violence.
I've been friends with them for a very long time, and I'm very, very close to his wife, you know? And I heard both sides of the story.
What are your thoughts now on the subject, on everything that you've heard from K. Michelle?
You know what? To be honest with you, it ain't got nothing to do with me, but at the end of the day, I don't know if I believe K. Michelle.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Regardless of anything, for 3 years, I've been helping women who went through domestic violence. So regardless of how crazy K. Michelle is or how I act, I don't say I act right. I don't always act right. I never have said I was this picture perfect woman. What I said was, what happened to me is what happened to me.
In 2015, K. Michelle's ex, Mickey Memphis Wright, admitted to abusing her and threatening to kill her son. The love triangle between former video vixen Mimi Faust, stripper and aspiring artist Jocelyn Hernandez, and sleazy producer Stevie J were a major ratings draw, making Love and Hip Hop Atlanta the most watched show by black women between ages 18 and 49 in 2012. The following seasons brought even more catfights, drug use, a much-discussed sex tape, and proud homewreckers.
I'm just asking you, are you my man or not? I absolutely am, every night.
If all of that drama wasn't enticing enough, there was Lil Scrappy's mother, Deborah Mama D. Bryant, a former pimp obsessed with controlling her son's career and romantic life. She originally began pimping due to being disabled. Explained Scrappy in an interview, "Mom Dukes was laying it down hard back in the day when I was coming up." Scrappy explained that when one of Mama D's women ran off to work for somebody else, he witnessed the fallout. "My mama caught her slipping in traffic and busted her across the head with a crowbar. That crowbar was stuck in her head and she was sitting there shaking." Mama D's overbearing and emotionally incestuous relationship with Scrappy no doubt impacted his romantic relationships, which became a focus of their storyline. Commented Mona Scott Young, "There are infidelities in the balancing of these men who are so tethered to their moms. That's when people go, oh, this is the same story. This is the mom." To make Love and Hip Hop worse, the lure of fame and money meant the show's participants were willing to fake it to the max. When model and felon Tommy Lee arrived in season 5, playing out a fake relationship with Scrap de Leon, her violent and criminal behavior wasn't punished. It was rewarded with an upgrade to main cast the following season. And by violent and criminal, I don't mean like, slapping somebody in a scene. I mean nearly hitting Jocelyn with her car while the cameras weren't even rolling. Plenty of fake storylines in the Love and Hip Hop universe have augmented real violence. For season 6 of Love and Hip Hop New York, breakout star Cardi B faked a relationship with DJ Self.
A girl have beef with me, she gonna have beef with me forever.
None of the romantic relationships on Love and Hip Hop, real or fictionalized, are healthy. Nor are many of the platonic relationships. Many are reminiscent of the high-octane confrontations prodded and exhibited on 90s talk shows, where conflicts are magnified for explosive results. Professor Nsanga Burton wrote in 2012 that she refused to watch another episode of Love and Hip Hop, calling the series an exercise in men abusing and humiliating women whose self-esteem is so low that they would allow themselves to be mistreated for the purposes of stardom in the reality TV world. Wannabes use the success of Love and Hip Hop to plan for more dysfunction. K. Michelle's abusive ex Memphis tried to start Real Mistresses of Atlanta, whose trailer quickly went viral before the show was abruptly canceled. Disappointed stars included the dancer and Drake ex-fling Malia Michelle and Drake's future baby mother, Sophie. Apparently, a show specifically about mistresses was a little too messy. Love and Hip Hop was embarrassing and messy enough. Wrote Lai Abrams, much of the violence between women on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta stems from envy and jealousy for male attention, a bitter irony. Of all the racial groups in America, black women are the most frequent victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and intimate partner homicide. Our teenage girls have the highest rate of dating abuse among high school students. Given the casual link between media consumption and behavior, it isn't a stretch to say that recent increases in incidents of intimate partner violence are due in part to people mirroring behavior that they are seeing on popular television. Granted, relationship drama and intimate partner violence have always been features of dating, but the magnification of unhealthy relationships on TV does not pair well with reduced media literacy, less reading, and less empathy. When I was coming of age with these shows in the early 2010s, my peers were obsessed with them and brought associated drama to the hallways and also the one-liners. Do you know how many times I heard, "Hey, Maid, I see you got on your May outfit like you always do." While I don't doubt that some black girls and women watched Love and Hip Hop and decided, oh my God, I will never, like it was instructional for them, it no doubt also had a negative impact on my generation, in the same way that kids and teenagers of the content creation age are being affected. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to spend it with you. Nasha Alameen Shavers examined the proliferation of the down-ass bitch during the first 4 seasons of Love and Hip Hop New York, citing the lyrics of the Ja Rule song and Ride or Die Bitch by Jadakiss for the definition. From Chrissy's proposal to Jim Jones and fighting for his love, to Yandy accepting a pre-prison proposal from Mendici and helping to raise his child from a previous relationship, to Kimbella's tragic backstory that caused her blind allegiance to Joel Santana, Antoinasha connected the DAB to the broader black community's treatment of male abusers, especially in hip-hop. By contrast, while Real Housewives doesn't portray the down-ass bitch stereotype as the women divorce men, break up with them, and or stay single throughout the course of the show.
As of today, we are officially divorced. I'm gonna be 50 years old, and I feel like this first 50 was for the people around me that I love. This next 50, God willing, is for me.
But the women of Real Housewives of Atlanta did showcase the realities of black women dating and the harmful mindsets of pick-me women.
Kenya went to a panel on relationships by Umar Johnson, for God's sake.
For the peach holders, being a traditional housewife who didn't work outside the home was non-existent. These housewives worked, and in Nene's case, bragged about getting Trump checks. Still, throughout the show, marriage was routinely dangled as an achievement, even as the marital problems and divorces mounted.
It's funny because as much of a whore that I'm supposed to be, Porsha, we don't even want to get into all the times you've been to Africa and sleeping with married men for bags, cars, and shoes. I mean, I love a bag, I love a car, I love a shoe, but damn it, I'm not gonna put miles on my vagina to get it.
When cast members are single, they're gossiped about as possible whores exchanging pussy for their lifestyles.
But true T, every man on this show been called gay besides Greg.
I ain't been called gay.
That's not true. That's not true.
And Matt
has
ain't
never
been on long enough.
I think he's pretty much the hoe. Not gay. There's a difference. Unless he's a gay hoe.
Not a gay hoe. Not a gay hoe.
I mean,
That's true. They make everybody on this show gay.
No, you ladies too. And it seems like you're all kind of gay bashy and doing this thing where you accuse him of being this way, making a big joke about it. I mean, it was taunting and it was derogatory, everybody. So it just was not a pretty look.
If the husbands aren't being accused by other cast members of being gay or broke, there's always allegations of cheating that put additional strain on these already fragile relationships.
It's all over the internet about Peter and his women. It's all over Atlanta, girl. Walk up to any girl that's 19 years old. Find out how your waitresses are getting paid, okay? And it's full of penis.
The woes of Kandi, Sheree, Kenya, Phaedra, Cynthia, Drew Sidora, and others I may be forgetting reflected the real world. Each settled with men who made less than them, resulting in varying degrees of eventual problems. Phaedra began dating Apollo while he was in prison, was pregnant with their first child during the wedding, and later defended his character to the ladies and the world before he was arrested and embarrassed her on an unfathomable scale.
Well, it could have been a scheme that Todd set up.
Well, I'm willing to compromise. That's fine. But I mean, damn, can we have sex more than once a week?
Let's be real. I'm not Tyson Bedford. You're not Rihanna. I said
Whoa, buddy.
Oh, here we go.
That was not the right thing to say.
I mean, I know Rihanna is hot and everything, but you ain't got to try to diss me telling me I'm no Rihanna.
Kandi's husband, Todd Tucker, a former crew member of the show, was questioned as an opportunist in a long, messy storyline and castigated by her own mother, Joyce.
Even though I do feel you're opportunist.
What do you think I'm getting out of it?
What you getting out of it? 'Cause let me tell you, ain't no real behind her. Ain't no ocean deep enough. Ain't no desert hot enough to keep me off your ass, baby.
In the present day, the pair just recently wrapped up a feud over money in a nasty divorce, with Kandi regretting allowing him to open up businesses with her money.
Was money a big factor?
I don't think there's ever just one reason. You know, it just was I'm not gonna cry. Seriously, cry.
Cynthia luckily divorced Peter Thomas, the same man with a questionable financial past whom she married on the show, before he was arrested and jailed for tax evasion. Sadly, she quickly married a sports analyst named Mike Hill, who admitted to having cheated on every woman he had ever dated, and brought Cynthia to meet an uncomfortably large room of his female friends. They divorced after 2 years. Sheree, whose predominant storylines have revolved around her blowing money on a fashion show in line with no fashions and building a bloated and overfinanced home, looked for love in unlikely places. Her decision to date a scammer in prison mirrored her brief season 3 relationship with a fake doctor.
She has arrived.
How you doing?
But I know you from somewhere.
I don't know, dude.
This is Saeed. The moment I walked in and looked at him, I recognized him. Not in a good way. I know you. You used to wear dreads.
Yeah, I did.
I know you well. Dr. Muhammad, he was known as the love doctor around Atlanta a few years ago, and it was a huge controversy. He did not have a degree.
So pretty much you're saying that everything he's saying has been a lie.
Is all of this dysfunction authentic? Is displaying it intentional? Is it a reflection of reality? I think it depends on what you grew up around. Unfortunately, I grew up with women being cheated on, neglected, scammed, and abused, and it's all too normal. Regardless of the relationships depicted on the show, the peach holders simultaneously reject traditional marital relationship ideals, try to depict perfect marriages until an inevitable problem, prioritize finding a man, leave men in the dust, and rarely date outside of their race, though Nene memorably dated a white man in season 2 when divorcing Greg.
You giving me a Rolex. Does that mean something?
What do you think it means?
It's getting weird. But I still need to get this watch. Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Plenty can be said about Real Housewives as a component of America's heteronormative culture. The romance woes of the peach holders is neither an explicit endorsement of patriarchy and pick-me-ism, nor a direct interrogation of it. A black nationalist could argue that the show denigrates the black family and black men by only showing infidelity and drama. A feminist could argue that the show promotes pick-me's and internalized misogyny. And the average black woman could simply claim it makes all black women look desperate. What is blatantly a cautionary train wreck tale to one viewer is propaganda for another, or validation of a third's actual circumstances. With this in mind, the program becomes slightly more complex than originally believed. You can always claim that media criticism isn't that deep, but as Mia Ibrasino and Aveen Estwick wrote, because mass media are a primary means through which ideology is communicated, it is via mass media content that our understanding of individuals and particular groups are shaped. The promise of reality makes us ponder how much of this shit, no matter how wild, is real. In 2016, the most popular reality shows in the extended Black Belt were Bad Girls Club, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Love and Hip Hop, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and The First 48. In addition to Blac Chyna's brief stint on the show and Jordan Woods, the most prominent black women on 2007's Keeping Up with the Kardashians are the actresses Malika and Khadijah Haq. While the clan wore black hairstyles, spoke black slang, dated black men, made their entire personalities about dating black men, and otherwise immersed themselves in black culture, the black women on Keeping Up with the Kardashians provide emotional support and serve as loyal props who can be pointed to when the clan needs to say, "See, we're not racist." On Real Housewives and Love and Hip Hop, the black women are the stars with actual storylines. As a woman of color, there is a responsibility that I have to protect the image of Black women and of Black people, as transmitted by the world, and I recognize that. But what I also feel as strongly about is that there is a right for every Black person to tell their story, said Mona Scott Young, who has been accused by numerous former show members to be the average manipulative executive producer with tricks and agendas. People telling their own stories is a common refrain from reality TV executives, producers, and viewers, especially when telling those stories is billed as something that can lead to rewards. From the tearful housewives on Queen for a Day to the embarrassed and cheated on ladies of modern reality TV, vulnerability and setbacks are cheered and expected. Delusion is encouraged and celebrated as iconic. Some of this is rooted in Schadenfraude. Explained Richard Smith, many people don't appreciate that when they come to conclusions about their own abilities, whether they're a fast runner or not, whether they're smart or not, whether their opinions are the right opinions or not, they use social comparisons as a basis for that judgment. They look around. Many reality TV viewers enjoy knowing about the misfortunes, humiliations, wrong opinions, and pains of other people because it makes them feel better about themselves. Schadenfraude has been linked to people with low self-esteem because the misfortunes of others make them feel better about themselves. People who delight in the misery of others have also been shown to engage in more media sensationalism. For Jennifer L. Posner, author of Reality Bites Back, The Troubling Truth About Guilty Pleasure TV, the embarrassing outcomes of women on reality TV are a feature, not a bug. This feature delivers a message. She wrote, "Women's intellectual inferiority is among reality TV's basest notions. Time and time again, we learned that the female half of the population is stupid. In embarrassing scenes across unscripted subgenres, women are portrayed as the dumber sex."
What's 2 + 2, Kim? I said 4. How do you spell cat? I said K-A-T.
Number 24, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that either. I need to ask Greg. Okay.
She described scenes in which Nene couldn't do basic algebra and Kim couldn't spell cat, then writing, "During RHOA's entire first season, viewers never learned about original cast member Deshaun Snow's postgraduate divinity studies. Why? Because filming a competent, intelligent African-American woman pursuing a master's degree would have broken producers' preferred narrative, that Black women and their wealthy white lady friends are gossipy idiots."
Don't point no daggone scepter at me, I would like Porsha to spell scepter. Go.
There has to be an opening for the railroad at some point, because somebody's driving the train. It's not electric like what we have now.
It wasn't a train, baby.
Really? Like, you really thought, like, there was an actual train that took them through?
No, I'm saying
It wasn't a train at all. They use it. That is just a euphemism, baby.
Just a figure. I'm thinking it was like widespread.
No, it's almost hurtful to me to watch her be so dumb.
In future seasons, thankfully, moments like Porsha Williams asserting that enslaved people rode literal trains on the Underground Railroad were counterbalanced by the academic pursuits of nefarious yet intelligent wordsmith, mortician, and lawyer Phaedra Parks. For many, therein lies the difference between the Black Real Housewives franchises and other shows like Love and Hip Hop. Words are used for fighting more than actual fighting. To be clear, altercations have happened on Bravo shows, but with relatively little fanfare.
Reality stars often blame the editors and the producers for the way they are portrayed on TV.
I know.
What do you have to say about that?
Wouldn't it be great if we could have someone that we could just say they made me do it? As we go through life every single day, we all do things every day that we think about, we're not proud of, we don't love.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be convenient?
Okay.
If there was somebody that we could point to and say it was all their fault.
Yeah.
You know, like. But I mean, listen, I always say it's not a magic box, right? That camera. We all do things that we look back at and we wish we had handled differently and maybe not have done or said that. And it's easy to point the finger and blame, you know, producers for that. But these guys know none of it is scripted. It's all them, yes.
Mona Scott Young tried to compare the frequent fights, alcohol-soaked clashes, and threats of violence on Love and Hip Hop to Real Housewives, saying in 2021 that producers Andy Cohen and Carlos King didn't face nearly as much scrutiny as she did. This prompted former Love and Hip Hop cast member Christopher Milian to tweet, "We can all count on one hand how many actual physical altercations happen on RHOA, but Every episode of Love and Hip Hop has black people physically attacking each other weekly, something in which you and your production company condone, whereas the other, i.e. Bravo Andy, do not. Some fights actually result in pay cuts, suspension, or even being fired from the RHOA franchise. Go have a seat with your manipulative evil ass. Thanks in advance from an ex-cast member. RHOA attempted to limit the likelihood of violence, but it still toed the line of possibility by inviting potentially volatile cast members. Divulged Marlo Hampton, a friend of, who often spoke about etiquette and class, yet had over 6 mugshots and a past conviction for assaulting a woman with a knife. I auditioned for a full-time housewife. They came to my house and filmed a scene between me and my mother, but my family was too love and hip-hop for Bravo's brand. My mother was eating out of the refrigerator, yelling and cursing and drinking a Colt 45. My truth was not what they wanted. At least until seasons 14 and 15, when Marlo was promoted to full-time housewife during a ratings drop. While Atlanta women can twerk, yell, be shady, and do other things that would not fly in the Huxtables era, fighting is generally looked at with disdain.
You are a dumb call. Shut up. Yeah, you want to hear me? You fired. I will you up. I will get fired.
When Porsha lunged at Kenya Moore and attacked her, she was forced to apologize and was demoted. However, her eventual popularity with producers and audiences meant she became full-time again, and her later physical altercations were also forgiven. Even though the Atlanta Housewives may have been held in high regard within the context of reality TV shows, there was still gossipy fodder when respected actress Kim Fields joined the cast for season 8. People were like, why are you on this reality show? You're Kim Fields. People traded allegations about an expensive IRS tax bill and complained that she wasn't housewife material. Cast and viewers were shocked, for instance, when she brought a book and Tupperware of snacks on a Lake Lanier boat trip. Ultimately, her appearance rebooted her already distinguished career, but she went down as a boring one-season wonder. On January 17, 2016, just a few weeks after an episode of RHOA featuring a fight between Porsha and Cynthia that reduced Kim Fields to tears and garnered newfound allegations of the show devolving into minstrelsy, similar to Love and Hip Hop, the show followed Phaedra to DC, where she met with Congresswoman Frederica Wilson and promoted her program, Save Our Boys. She, Sheree, and Porsha attended the October commemoration of the Million Man March. When considering the women's travels to South Africa and Savannah, Georgia, the ladies have always taken interesting trips. But the DC trip was a major optic in the wake of ongoing police brutality and Donald Trump's bid for the presidency. The women attending reflected David Nakamura's coverage of the event, with him writing, "There were more young adults on Saturday than there were 20 years ago at the Million Man March, and proportionally more women." The housewives met with the mothers of slain black men and brought along their sons. The same night as that episode, Miss Parks Goes to DC aired, Bravo's Real Housewives of Potomac series debuted.
If you haven't heard of Potomac, that's fine, because that means we've done a great job keeping it a nice little secret.
Here in Potomac, new money's good, but old money is so much better.
It's right outside of DC. The African American community is extremely small, and everybody wants to get in.
If you don't behave yourself in Potomac, you might be asked to leave.
Casting the show hadn't been easy. Said casting director Adrian Wells, "The DC, Maryland, Virginia area is not like New York City, Los Angeles, or Atlanta. People in this world don't want to be on TV." From the moment it was announced, Potomac was meant to be a more conservative and buttoned-up black franchise, one that cast member Sharice Jordan said was supposed to be the black version of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, not Atlanta. The Washington Post gossiped about production rumors in 2015, writing, "The show is supposed to give viewers a sneak peek inside Jack and Jill of America, a historic African-American social club that becomes a playground for gossip and cattiness among its members," according to the one sheet. So Maryland moms trying to get their kids into the right playgroup? Not exactly table flipping, but we'll take it. No predicted insight into Jack and Jill or any other black high society would ever come into fruition. But with audience favorite Karen Huger's assertions on the importance of etiquette and unrepentant mean girl Giselle Bryant's past ties to the black church, along with highly produced insinuations that the cast hobnobbed with the most elite members of DMV society, it's no wonder Potomac was viewed as the classy black franchise. In true shady peach fashion, the Atlanta cast was sent promotional materials for Potomac, but didn't promote it. Despite the lack of love from the Peaches, Potomac's season 1 debut was the biggest in Real Housewives history, with approximately 2.54 million viewers. It averaged 2.1 million viewers for the rest of the season. Major plot lines involved the generational divide between the women and socialite Katie Rost, a mother of 3 begging a man to marry her, and sugar baby / gold digger Ashley Darby, whose Australian husband Michael allegedly sexually assaulted someone before the end of the season. Sharice's husband Eddie refused to film and they were separated, and the only other visible husband was Karen Huger's husband Ray, a businessman. Robin Dixon lived with her philandering ex-husband Juan, claiming she wanted to co-parent their children and nothing more. Giselle was single. What was interesting for me during the first season was that they had arguments over what constituted blackness. For instance, both Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon, 2 light-skinned black women with green eyes, interrogated the biracial Katie about her blackness and Jewish faith. They were upset when she questioned them in turn about whether or not they were biracial.
Dumb and dumber.
With 2 black women with light eyes and skin who only date black men, 2 biracial women engaged to or dating white men, plus Karen and Sharice, race was a recurring discussion in the first season of Potomac. At the time of the debut and its subsequent season, Trump was growing from a fringe novelty to a serious contender. So race was definitely a hot topic for producers. Race as a topic became less potent as the series progressed, but class and keeping up appearances continued to be woven into storylines. Karen Huger, who harped about etiquette and image and took on the sarcastic insult Grande Dame of Potomac in earnest, was rocked in season 3 when her wealthy husband Ray, whom she dubbed the Black Bill Gates, was investigated for not paying business taxes. As a side note, both Atlanta and Potomac casts, while being or at least presenting a level of wealth above the average Black American family, are called the broke franchises.
Ah, the ghetto! I was shocked, honey. I was in tears almost. And it has a white refrigerator. I was like, oh, not a white refrigerator. Girl, please put your shoes on. Let's go find you a home, honey. Ooh.
In Potomac, where the median black family's wealth is $250,000, the cast trips to Delaware, Texas, and Colorado, for instance, have been called out for their lack of luxury. Robin was open that she and her ex-NBA player ex-husband, Juan, were in significant debt when the show began. This was refreshing for some viewers and repellent for others who tuned in for luxury. In season 2, when Monique Samuels was asked to rap during high tea at the historic Willard Hotel, the women were appalled. Monique was married to a former NFL player and brought more wealth to the series.
We're actually looking for a home in Potomac, Maryland.
You don't have a home?
I have 4 homes.
Okay.
Giselle hated her from that moment. But what I really want to comment on is that by this point, the concept of Housewives had become so muddled that in subsequent episodes, the unmarried Giselle would disparage Monique for only being relevant because her husband had money. Well, yes, that was the original point of the show. Wealth and privilege would later be used as a source of ridicule for Candace Dillard Bassett when her castmates found out that her mother, a successful yet manipulative therapist, paid for her home and a substantial amount of her wedding. A lot of emphasis was placed on old versus new money in this early era of Potomac, and to some viewers, Monique's money but lack of class was exhibited when she was entangled in an umbrella incident with Robin and an actual fight in season 5 with Candace Dillard Bassett. Said Andy Cohen, "We don't like when shit like this happens. It's a bad look for the series. It's not why we created this series. The show is not meant to be the Bad Girls Club or Love and Hip Hop. The fight and the fallout brought Potomac its highest viewership so far." That same season, the newbie, Wendy Osefo, a Nigerian-American commentator and professor with 4 degrees, as she liked to remind everybody, arrived. She immediately took it upon herself to make the fight out to be a poor reflection of all black women. Giselle Bryant, whose personality and storyline is that of a light-skinned mean girl who bullies, hazes, and belittles people's husbands, said, "Being a black woman in this country is tough. We've already got every obstacle blocking our success. For you to come on this platform and decide it's okay to physically harm your castmate, that is a problem I can't get past." Robin, whose main storyline before being fired from the show in 2024 was being a loyal doormat to Juan, and was disappointed that Monique made the cast look bad, saying, "We felt like she tore down everything we represented." Mind you, this is also Robin.
Seriously, if there weren't cameras there, I would have beat her ass at that party.
Like, I can't be beating people's asses on camera. But I would have put her ass in a headlock and told her to shut the f*** up.
Wow. Please put your fingers out of my face. Please put your fingers out of my face, Robin.
This is putting my finger in your face.
Out of my face, Robin.
I actually liked Robin, but the hypocrisy was astounding. Even Candace, who was the one attacked by Monique but criticized for wielding a butter knife while cussing out Ashley Darby, noted the hypocrisy. Candace said on Violence, "There's only a stigma attached to our behavior because we're black. Because when they're cracking glasses on the edge of tables in Beverly Hills, smacking cameras down in Dallas, and throwing wine in people's faces in Orange County, or flipping tables and pulling ponytails in New Jersey, nobody says, wow, these white women are ghetto. They're dangerous." Candace has regularly been called out for her choice of words being seen as pushing people too far, which some viewers claim is colorism.
She's not a housewife, she's a house daughter. That's great. I'm happy for you.
And you're a house trollop. Be quiet.
By the way, because they're both married to white men, Candace's statements to Ashley have been seen at times as being hypocritical and or projections.
Michael referred to Chris as white trash.
What do you say about him? You call him a slave driver?
I've never referred to Michael as white trash.
You did. You called him a slave driver?
Because he drives his slaves.
The call to embody positive representation is something that all black people face across mediums. Said Dr. Amber Tillman, "When all we have is one story or one representation of us, everything we do is judged by that standard. Because there are so many representations of white women, when a single white woman does something negative, it is not representative of the entire race. We have so few stories that everything we do becomes representative of everything we are." The violence on Real Housewives of Potomac wasn't the first or last scandal that changed the show's reputation from classy to trashy. Despite Robin's assertions that she beat somebody's ass without cameras around, she had the audacity to single out Wendy as aggressive, one of the show's blatant examples of colorism. Meanwhile, here's Robin when someone light-skinned throws a drink at Wendy. Remember how I said Andy Cohen can't facilitate certain conversations with the housewives because it's not his place? When the green-eyed bandits of Potomac, aka Robin and Giselle, along with Karen and Ashley, were criticized as being colorist, Andy let the women lead the conversation without a moderator, and it was tone deaf.
I'm viewed as the crybaby, as the first one to be emotional. But Robin has screamed and gone into Ashley's restaurant and put her finger in her face.
I was confused with you're the emotional one of the group. What does that have to do with the color of your skin? Like, how are you connecting the two? Villainized based off of being emotional? No, I'm saying, what does you being emotional have to do with skin color?
Am I not making sense? I understand what you're trying to say.
I just want to understand.
In addition to allegations of colorism, the addition of Mia Thornton, whose past as a stripper was more shocking in the polite buttoned-up DMV than the strip club Playland Atlanta, made waves.
Well, first of all, I slept with this girlfriend before he came along, for the record.
Oh, so that
You say you slept with your girlfriend. So he's sleeping with my girlfriend at that point. In that order.
Woo, child, you could take the hoe out the strip club, but you can't take the strip club out the hoe. I mean, let me not judge, because it's hoes everywhere. It's hoes at the bank, it's hoes in the Walmart, it's hoes at this table with me.
But Mia's eventual cuckolding of her older husband G with a rapper and discussions of her children's paternity repelled viewers who tuned in for businesses, beauty treatments, vacations, and petty drama over rooms and seating assignments. Not a game of who's the daddy. Mia was accused of declassing the franchise and made a widely celebrated exit in 2024. Also that year, Karen Huger was arrested for her 4th DUI. Embarrassing footage from her arrest went viral and she was sentenced to 2 years in jail, though she only served 6 months, keeping her from filming the 10th season. This may be an unpopular opinion, but although I mildly enjoyed the Grande Dame previously, I personally did not miss her at all during this last season. When Wendy Osefo first joined the cast in 2020, her hair, outfits, and lifestyle were humble, but she was not humble about her accomplishments.
Dr. Wendy, address me correctly.
Wendy divulged that the night before that scene was filmed, Candace told her she needed to have a moment to cement her mark on the show. Preparing snappy one-liners, or rehearsed reads, is a common complaint by modern Real Housewives viewers, showcasing how the series has changed from its early days in Orange County to the expected routine shadiness brought by Atlanta's success. Nobody wants to be a Deshaun Snow. Nobody wants to be a boring one-season wonder. So bringing it and manufacturing drama, beefs, and grievances has been the norm.
My life, my business, my condo,
but the only
my
time
man,
you speak
my
up
things.
is when it's about
What do you have going on?
Because of these expectations to deliver a performance, Wendy learned how to play the game and was invited back for a second season. During her second season, she unveiled a fresh wardrobe, new plastic surgery, and a more fun attitude that some castmates saw as out of step for a distinguished professor. As the seasons progressed, her fashions elevated, her discussions about her finances grew, and her disillusionment with academia became more apparent. She quit being a professor at Johns Hopkins University in 2024. Fast forward to 2025. She and her husband Eddie, an attorney and marijuana entrepreneur, were arrested and charged with 16 counts of fraud, with prosecutors alleging that she had funded her luxurious lifestyle with stolen money and false insurance claims. The case is currently pending and is not a unique crime in the Housewives universe, but it speaks to a wider phenomenon of scamming and greed in reality TV. Throughout season 10, production has played footage of Wendy discussing finances and lavish purchases, and they are so cringe. The Osefo drama is a stark reminder about the nature of these shows. You are signing up to put your life under an extreme microscope. Everything becomes public fodder. For Black women who are judged on a harsher level, and Black relationships that have to navigate fraught systemic financial realities and judgment, this takes real bravery. Or real delusion. Said Wendy to the Washington Post in 2021, "We do some of the heaviest lifting, but we often don't get any credit. I salute every single Black woman that dares to come on this platform knowing that you'll be more criticized and more ridiculed than your white counterparts. But you will be more quoted and more imitated than your white counterparts." So we've talked a lot about the Black franchises, but what about Black women on the white franchises? On Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and Beverly Hills, cast members Mary Cosby, Garcelle Bouvet, and Bazoma St. John are the lone Black women. When Garcelle joined Beverly Hills in season 10, she was their first Black cast member. This took adjustment from the audience and the cast.
We're out. Love you girls. Bye. What are you doing here? Just out of here. Don't out of here.
Oh my, don't listen to these ladies.
Get out.
I know Erica's drunk and I know she's joking around, but that's Garcelle's son. He's 14 years old. I feel sick to my stomach.
Hold on. Erica, you hurt Jax's feeling. Don't talk to him like that. What? You said get the out of here, and that's not okay.
Jax, get over here.
That's not okay.
What? Wait, Garcelle, are you serious?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's not okay.
Jax, come here, babe.
How many other family members of mine is she gonna go after tonight? First Oliver, now Jax. She's done.
Garcelle exited in 2025 after 5 seasons of microaggressions from her white castmates. On the Utah-based franchise, Mary Cosby possesses a somewhat unprecedented level of privilege within the context of the Housewives universe.
Oh, Heather, some of that was not true, what you wrote about me.
Mary was equal parts elusive and forthcoming, engaging and disinterested. I agreed with anything and everything she said. And when she corrected my grammar, my pronunciation, my diet, and my physical appearance, I hung my head in shame and thanked her sincerely.
Like I was this
I thought I celebrated
bougie like I'm this bougie, poise.
Miss Mary, you are bougie and poised.
No, I'm not.
I don't think anything I said was that bad. And if anything, I erred on the side of caution. Well, I mean, you said I don't even know I look inbred.
Heather very judgmental self. And she has the snobbiness of a true Mormon. She don't even know she look inbred.
Not only do her fellow castmates seem terrified of calling her out for her mean statements and rudeness that would get her read for filth in Atlanta.
At the cooking class? Yes. Yeah, I was on bolognese and like 3 bottles of wine. I don't know what.
I don't care. You're always on some kind of wine. Somebody's always driving you home.
But Mary's husband, who was also her grandmother's husband, doesn't film, and she isn't required to discuss their unsavory relationship. She also runs a church that has at several turns been described as predatory and a cult. For some reason, she's been branded as a quirky favorite of Salt Lake City, and I believe the women handle her with kid gloves because they know what kind of optics would unfold if they called her anything but a child of God.
And we all sat there and said it, and none of us are saying what we think or feel right now because we're scared of Mary.
They'll call each other bitches and geriatric cocksuckers, but not Mary. Over on Real Housewives of New York, Ebony K. Williams, the first black cast member, entered in the 13th season in 2023. Her discussions about race and politics were considered overbearing and boring.
So we don't have to talk too much about it, but how are you just feeling with the election and how our city and world will be in the next few months?
I really just don't want to think about it. I've been thinking about it a lot.
And if it goes how it's looking it's going to go right now, what I'm very, very happy about is America's daughters. They get to see a woman vice president. We've never seen that in American history.
Okay, I don't want to talk politics.
Right?
I don't want to talk politics.
Have we had a vice president woman, Ramona? That's an objective fact.
Let's have a nice evening. I don't want to talk politics.
That woman, Ramona Singer, once called someone behind the scenes the N-word and said racist things, leading to the entire show being recast after Ebony's first season. For the time that she was on the show, Ebony was reviewed by many viewers as having no personal drama and being preachy. When she brought her fellow cast members to Harlem for a party where they were gifted candles and pamphlets on Black history, audiences frowned. Vulture critic Brian Moylan wrote, "She says that after the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, she didn't want to be the black teacher anymore. Leah tells Ebony that she doesn't want her to feel like it's her job, but it is her job. That is what Bravo brought her on to do, which is be a shield for their lily white cast. But we also want her to be a housewife. That doesn't mean fighting and drama and yelling, but it means opening up about her life. It's great that she can teach us about the black experience in America, but I also want her to teach us about her." The show's few black viewers seem to agree. Wrote Ira Madison III, "It's easy enough to discuss race and politics in dinner conversation. I do it all the time. But if I arrived at a dinner party and someone was like, 'You're learning history today,' I'd be out. I'd be perfectly fine with Ebony pulling one of those stunts on Atlanta because someone would immediately clown her for being a nerd and a school marm. But without any other women of color on Real Housewives of New York, the white women are left flummoxed and unable to express how they feel in any given situation. Unfortunately, nobody is watching Housewives for history lessons." One last thing to note about the Real Housewives franchise is its loyal gay fan base, many of whom are white. Confessed Michael Breslin to Brian Moylan in "Why Are Gay Men So Obsessed with the Real Housewives?" "I like to watch these women behave badly in public. Watching women behave so aggressively and so poorly out in the open, I connect with that. I get that. That is my first impulse as a queer person, to just act out in public." For a generation of queer men who didn't see themselves represented well in media in the 80s and 90s, some say that Bravo's shows and personalities have become key to their own relationships and personalities. Added Patrick Foley, "I have noticed in some of my friends that they sort of start to behave like Real Housewives to me because they know that I'm a fan of the Real Housewives. So they start to get nasty and catty and petty." Love and Hip Hop New York ended in 2019, and the Atlanta version is ending this year. After a series of casting choices and scandals like the Bolo incident and Kenya's revenge porn scheme, often fatiguing viewers months before broadcast thanks to blogs and podcast tours, Real Housewives of Atlanta's ratings have been on the decline for the past few years. Bravo's decision to rehire Phaedra Parks last season, who was fired in 2017 for spreading libelous statements about Kandi and Todd to Porsha, ruffled the feathers of some viewers but made others happy. It also made some viewers wonder if Kenya Moore will eventually be invited back to the cast. Clearly, if you lack integrity but you're entertaining, you can still be Real Housewives material. With season 17 on the horizon, what's next for the franchise? How long will it last? Will future seasons tide assertions that the show is past its prime? The golden age of black reality TV is over, making way for a new era. In 2022, BET decided to revive College Hill, fully devoid of its original purpose in highlighting young Black students, instead welcoming Black social media influencers and celebrity has-beens. Produced by Edmonds Entertainment and This Way Out Media, there was little outcry when Texas Southern, Alabama State, and Xavier University welcomed the likes of seasoned reality veterans like Nene, Ray J, New York, Black China, Claudia Jordan, and Jocelyn Hernandez into their hallways. The same year that Nene headlined the debut College Hill celebrity cast, she sued Bravo for racism, saying that executives turned a blind eye to Kim Zolciak's behavior. She also complained that her complaints about Kim caused her to be pushed off the show in 2020. She withdrew the lawsuit within 5 months. Unscripted TV has gotten more outrageous than produced, as a new generation of viewers, participants, and producers enter the fray. In 2020, Judge Lynn quit hosting Divorce Court because production wanted the show to take on a more meme-focused and comedic approach after the popularity of Raymond Rolling Ray Harper's appearance. Court TV shows and other unscripted formats were competing with more outrageous online content, reality to the max. Think live streams, skits, YouTube story times, and vlogs that blurred the line between reality and content creation. Regular people were now using industry production secrets to capture and profit from their own lives. In 2018, Vine stars DeStorm Power, Amanda Cerny, and King Bach launched Zeus Network, with 32-year-old Detroit-born producer Lemuel Plummer at the helm. He had grown up understanding the nature of producing, as his parents owned 3 Christian TV stations around Detroit with Israeli ties. Before Zeus, he produced The Monique Show, The Family Cruise, and Preachers of LA for BET. But Zeus allowed him endless freedom to get raunchy and ridiculous, so he drummed up Baddies Atlanta, a reboot of Bad Girls Club featuring Natalie Nunn and Tanisha Thomas as ringleaders. There was also Jocelyn's Cabaret, featuring the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta stars sorting through and barking at strippers who submitted to her with little complaint, and The Real Black China, showcasing the life and relationships of the troubled vixen and Kardashian associate Angela White. As a side note, the amount of people who treat Blac Chyna's abusive and unstable mother Tokyo Toni as merely a meme or reality TV character rather than someone to be disdained is indicative of how dark the reality TV ecosystem is. No matter how terrible a person's character, some fledgling network or podcaster is willing to work with you if your clout brings eyeballs. The line between reality and reality is blurred because terrible personalities, habits, and even abusive people are written off as simply being characters. This is what Zeus banks on. Under the 2018 Deadline article detailing the launch of Zeus Network for $3.99 in the App Store, a single commenter named Joe said, "Nobody will buy this garbage. Nobody." The article had made no mention of the channel's future programming, but Joe was beyond skeptical. A lone anonymous user clapped back, "LOL, you wild dumb." Fast forward to the present day. Zeus Network has over 1 million paying subbies a month, shelling out $6.99 a month or $69.99 a year, and the company was reportedly valued at over $1 billion. While many of the Zeus offerings I've sampled are a loose assortment of the same elements, former or aspiring D-list star, nudity, incoherent yelling, fights, Baddies has devolved as a franchise to include violent auditions where the talent engages in spectacle for free, hoping to be picked for the main cast. After the first season featured former bad girls in a weak attempt at character building and redemption, season 2 was retooled for the cast members to get the bag. It's not lost on me that many of the baddies and those who aspire to be them are poor and lacking in education and opportunity, making Zeus's exploitation of them highly calculated and profitable. Wrote Kenyatta Victoria, "The ultimate goal seems to be a bag that doesn't exist, while the cast members are filled with drugs and alcohol and placed in vulnerable states for harmful conflicts with each other on camera." It's extremely disturbing to see clips where contestants are instructed to fight each other or a judge at the drop of a dime. Zeus is also an alleged hunting ground for Lemuel Plummer to find his next sexual partner. Not only does he have a child with a baddie and Charlotte, North Carolina native named Scotty Ryan while being married to someone else, but he's been accused of sleeping with and abusing other cast members. As the show travels frequently and involves a number of sex workers, there are rumors of pimping and sex trafficking that may become more relevant as time goes on. Though, let's be very clear, that is a problem that exists across the entertainment spectrum. But exploitation elsewhere doesn't make Zeus justified. The mental deterioration and celebrification of Chrisean Rock, along with her violent temper and assaults and the abusive relationship with the rapper Blueface, was captured on Baddies and Blueface and Chrisean Crazy in Love. All of this made her famous, and now the internet watches as she neglects her child. It's hard to gauge the impact of Zeus at the current moment. How many black girls and teens have access? Hard to say. But there are tons of clips on the internet, along with recaps on social pages, who make stars out of anybody willing to do anything for attention. I don't believe media should be entirely censored for the sake of children, but I do believe parents should talk with their kids about reality shows if they allow them to be viewed at all. In a 2013 study of 1,141 girls aged 11 to 17, Ferguson, Salmond, and Modi found that regular reality TV viewers accept and expect a higher level of drama, aggression, and bullying in their own lives as well. They are considerably more likely than non-viewers to agree that, in groups that did watch reality TV versus those who didn't, gossiping is a normal part of a relationship between girls, 78% versus 54%. It's in girls' nature to be catty and competitive with one another, 68% versus 50%. And it's hard for me to trust other girls, 63% versus 50%. Our research indicates that regular reality TV viewers emphasize being mean and or lying to get ahead. A higher percentage of these girls, as compared to their non-viewing counterparts, claim that sometimes you have to lie to get what you want, 37% versus 24%. Being mean earns you more respect than being nice, 37% versus 25%. And you have to be mean to others to get what you want, 28% versus 18%. While that survey was from 2013, the girls and women of today have a new layer to contend with: content. Reality TV has evolved into unscripted yet still highly produced streams and skits where an absence of media literacy or disclosure of parody means a double-edged sword in which any joke can be taken at face value and any fucked up statement can be laughed off as trolling. Because people are being told that anyone can be a content creator if they troll hard enough or use the right AI prompts, they will try to, by any means necessary. Many grew up watching reality TV moments and know that bad behavior is often rewarded. Validation can be one stun away. No wonder people who obsess over reality TV and people who are dying to be famous by any means necessary are linked. Proposed Stephen Rice and James Wiltz when first describing why people watched reality TV back in 2005. People who are motivated by status have an above average need to feel self-important. Reality television may gratify this psychological need in two ways. One possibility is that viewers feel they are more important, have higher status than the ordinary people portrayed on reality television shows. The idea that these are real people gives psychological significance to the viewer's perceptions of superiority. It may not matter much if a storyline is realistic, so long as the characters are ordinary people. Further, the message of reality television, that millions of people are interested in watching real-life experiences of ordinary people, implies that ordinary people are important. Ordinary people can watch the shows, see people like themselves, and fantasize that they could gain celebrity status by being on television. This angle ignores other reasons why people watch reality TV. Escapism and general nosiness come to mind, but I do believe there's merit to the ideas that some people watch the medium to feel superior to the people on their screens, and that some enjoy seeing reality TV as an alluring and attainable career goal. This, to me, explains part of internet cruelty. Long ago, we accepted the notion that when you appear on TV, you have consented to having your privacy stripped away and given people the right to criticize and judge you for anything. This idea has transferred to the internet, where anyone with an online presence can be targeted with draggings, criticism, and hatred. We got comfortable with the idea of monetizing our existences and capturing and airing out our most embarrassing or sad moments for a team of reality TV producers. And now, in the content creation era, we've cut out the middleman and now we're in charge of our own stories. You can directly profit from real and manufactured drama in your own unscripted life without worrying about an unfavorable or discriminatory edit. You are in control. This is reality to the max. The production and format may have changed, but the taste for other people's real stories has not gone away. You can be a content creator or you can be a content consumer. Sometimes you can be both. You may not be perfect, but you can microanalyze every negative thing about people online, feeding an economy where nobody knows what's real and what's content. And my oh my, do people get vicious in their commentary because we have a warped sense of reality. The way people comment on the internet is not the way they comment in real life. The internet has become everyone's confessional. It can be argued that we've always been this way, but in 2026, it's clear that many people on the internet are so nasty and so rude. Circling back to Schadenfraude, this obsession with superiority and delighting in other people's misfortune hits on a toxic component of today's political landscape, where a former reality TV show host, criminal, and pervert was elected president twice. There's no unspilling the milk. There's no removing black women from reality TV, and there's no getting rid of unscripted productions, nor do I think any of these things need to happen. Black women's achievements, friendships, triumphs, and systemic issues have been highlighted, which has impacted local economies, brought new attention to our problems, and changed many aspects of popular culture. Plus, like literature and film, the shit can be entertaining and even informative and aspirational. But with shows like Baddies being so popular, where do we go from here in the reality TV genre? When Selling Sunset Tampa, the black version of the LA show, was canceled by Netflix after one season, said cast member Joanna Colbert, "When they show us black women in a different light, when we're bickering, fighting, and name-calling, they get a season 2 and season 3. But that's not what we were displaying. I feel like we weren't given a second chance, possibly because of what we represented as minority women." Though the season showed no real estate sales by the cast alleged that they had indeed closed deals while filming. Not only does this remind me of MTV producers not airing Heather B's segment with her father, but it reminds me that producers and production companies have a vested interest in elevating low effort and stereotypical content and promoting false narratives for people who engaged with this media at face value. Rather than allowing niche black reality shows to organically grow audiences, production and networks seek to appeal to a wide majority with low effort content full of threats, screaming matches, and stereotypes. Said Ebony K. Williams, "I think black women risk more than anyone else by being on reality TV. I also think black women potentially stand to gain more than anybody by being on reality TV, depending on how we choose to use our platforms. Black women are the most misunderstood beings in American society, and I think reality TV, for better or for worse, can be a great opportunity to inform what that looks like." This is true. Reality TV is undeniably an information medium, especially in a nation where over half of the adult population reads below a 6th grade level. But as Ebony learned, if people want history, they'll watch this channel or a documentary, not Housewives. The lessons have to come in doses, and they have to come in an authentic fashion. Because Ebony was brought on to clean the show's 12 seasons of lily whiteness and she was forcing conversation with people who didn't care, it didn't work. How do we get more positive reality TV representation with fun and informative vibes? While the Real Housewives franchise is Bravo's bread and butter, its other attempts at black shows haven't received as much marketing, and respectable yet not Real Housewives caliber viewership leads to quick cancellations. 2025 saw many new black reality shows disappear because they bored audiences, wrote Preston Mitchum for Essence. Black reality television is in a state of paralysis. Across networks, unscripted shows centering black millennials, messy, joyful, aspirational, complicated, are being quietly paused, a familiar euphemism for cancellation without the courtesy of communication. These weren't just programs, they were windows into black life. Summer House Martha's Vineyard, Sweet Life Los Angeles, Selling Tampa, and Southern Charm New Orleans. They offered more than the standard drama and infighting. They had purpose, they had community, they had range. So why are they gone? Mitchum was a cast member on Bravo's Summer House Martha's Vineyard, which aired for 2 seasons and made sure to highlight the history of Oak Bluffs, a popular vacation spot for black Americans.
Martha! If you don't know, Black excellence is Martha's Vineyard, and Martha's Vineyard is Black excellence.
This season on Summer House Martha's Vineyard. Hit that frame, let me see you do your thing.
Cheers to life on the vineyard! This is what the ancestors wanted.
Jump in the pool with your clothes on.
She don't know how much my shoes cost.
Said critic Carlos J. Harris, Summer House Martha's Vineyard was the first show of its kind on a major network that showcased a Black millennial friend group past college years. Bravo putting the show on pause right now felt like a slap in the face. Added Mitchum, the show was more than drama and vacation aesthetics. It was a cultural backdrop that deserved time to breathe. But too many Black-led shows are expected to deliver instant magic without the runway it takes to build legacy. It was by a stroke of luck that while writing this script, I saw a popular tweet calling Summer House Martha's Vineyard boring. After divorces, scam reveals, pillow talk fights, screaming matches, and trains on the Underground Railroad, plus now the fights on Baddies, how do we define boring on reality TV? The medium has warped our sense of reality. It has touched many aspects of American society. It set the tone for our political elections with the nonstop fighting and dirt slinging, enabling nonstop content creation with the stunts and produced reality, and incentivized poor behavior and rooting for delusional people if their tongues are quick and acidic enough to do harm to others, or if their outfits and lifestyles are fly enough. And it's even encouraged unhealthy and fake relationships. Hello, frenemies, and social climbing. We are only 34 years removed from the real world, when the genre was shiny and new. Where will Black women, who extended the life of reality TV, end up in the next evolution as budgets get tighter and negativity thrives? When considering the fact that former Real Housewives of New York City star Leah McSweeney will have an open court case against Bravo for allegedly attempting to get her to start drinking again despite her alcoholism, what will we know about the manipulation tactics of reality shows in the future? Only time will tell. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something new. There were a bunch of other things I could have talked about seriously, but unfortunately for me, time is a motherfucking factor, and this video is long enough as it is. Clearly, I've revealed my bias in this video because I'm a fan of Real Housewives, but you can't shame me. If you watch reality TV, what do you watch and why? Are there shows you absolutely refuse to watch? Are reality shows modern minstrelsy, or are Black people allowed to be shown as messy and complicated? Are there enough positive reality shows counterbalancing shows like Baddies? What else have you noticed about Black women in reality TV? Are there other media history topics you want me to discuss? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you like, share, and subscribe. This video is sponsored by intellectualmedia.com, a free platform offering history guides, essays, quizzes, playlists, syllabi, and videos deemed too hot for YouTube. Let's bring blogging back. Check out the link in my description box below.